La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect and the sincere Akim, pushing this word, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. This Gms Plaintables camp, back out here another week to prophesy the downfall of this abominable and wicked kingdom, and to help wake the elect up who have been scattered through the four corners of the earth, mainly here in the Americas, who are the so-called blacks, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans, and the speckled bird that reside in the other nations that look like the other nations but come from the seed of Jacob. To you we say Shalom. It's a beautiful day to be alive here in Babylon and to know that we are the children of the promise, because the end of Esau rule is we witnessing it. Somebody get me Sirach 25 and 7. Get me on 1 Corinthians 15 and 24.
All right. This is the book of Sirach 25 and 7. It says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy.
Yeah, there's 9 things that Yahweh Shai deems to be happy, to see for a man to see the fall of his enemy. And we witnessing the fall of our enemy, who is our twin brother, Sleazy E, also known as Esau Edom. We're witnessing the collapse of his kingdom. You see the financial system is corrupted through. The people have a gross and dark spirit on them. The food is corrupted. The water is corrupted. We got all kind of trains derailing. You know, we got all kind of food processing plants being burned to the ground. You know, so we witnessing the fall of Esau Edom, and it's a beautiful thing. 1 Corinthians 15, 24.
Oh, 15.
Yeah.
It's 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. And it says, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom of the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power.
God, then come the end. The end of what? The end of this age, the eon. The end of Sleazy E's rulership, when the Lord's going to deliver up the kingdom, you know, to the Heavenly Father. Now, somebody give me 2nd Ezra 6 and 9.
Let that brother get it in the meantime.
2nd Ezra 6 and 9.
All right, this is the book.
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, the book of 2nd Ezra. Real quick, yep. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9. It reads, it says, for Issachar or Esau is the end of the world.
Yeah, for Esau is the end of the world, the end of the age, the end of the eon. Because the earth abideth forever. The earth will be here forever, but the end of this age is coming where our wicked twin brother is going to take a fall, and we're going to rise. And we witnessing that, and it's a beautiful thing. Read on.
It says, in Jacob is the beginning.
No, slack it. Go back to 1 Corinthians 15 and 25.
Slack it. This is back to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 25. Yep, slack it. And it reads, it's all right, my fault. Yep. I had it. All right, yeah. Okay. Yep. 15:25. Hey, why am I looking like this? Like 25. Saki, why are you looking? I don't know. Hold on.
Right here.
Oh, you wait, no.
That's on 2nd Corinthians.
Yeah, you want 1 Corinthians.
Really got it?
Yeah, I got it right here. 24, 25?
Yeah, read 24 again.
Yep, it says, and then come at the end.
Then come at the end. We already described to you what the end was. The end of the age. Go ahead.
When he shall have delivered up the kingdom.
Who is that he? Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
To the Most High, Yahweh, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power.
Yeah, when he shall have put down all rule, authority, and power. Read.
For he must reign.
Yeah, so he must reign. And when the king gets in power, he exercises his rulership by making all his people under him and subjected to his rule. So when he must reign, so he coming with laws that the people gonna have to be subjected to. Go ahead.
Till he had put all enemies under his feet.
put all enemies under his feet. Now, when you read Psalms 83rd chapter, read that, go to the second verse, Psalms 83 and 2. Because the children of Israel, we have enemies. Unbeknownst to us, we think that everybody our friend, we love everybody, but we have real enemies. And they took up crafty counsel with each other to keep us at a low state. Go ahead.
Yep, that's the book of Psalms 83, verse 2. It says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the hand. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones."
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Go ahead.
And it says, verse 4, "They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance."
Come and let them cut us off from being a nation, so the name of Israel will be no more in remembrance. And you look at around and you see our people in a low condition we're in because we have powerful enemies that took crafty counsel to put us in this position that we're in. Go ahead.
Yep. Verse 5, it says, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom."
The tabernacles of Edom, the house of Edom. Go ahead.
"And the Ishmaelites of
The Arabs. Go ahead.
of Moab,
Yup.
and the Hagarians."
Moab, the Chinese. So Ishmael, the Edomites, and the Chinese took crafty counsel together, so our name won't be in remembrance no more. So we have real enemies. Now, jump back to 1 Corinthians.
The 1 Corinthians that I was at, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 24.
So Esau, Edom, the Chinese, Moab, and Ishmael, the Arabs. They all in together in cahoots with each other to keep us in a low state. Because once we get connected to our power, which is on its way here, we're going to be in rulership over them. So they got to do whatever they got to do to keep us in the position we're in. So they attack us from the food, the water, the air, the vaccination programs that they give our children. Once they come out of the womb, they take the child, and God knows what they do to them, and bring them back. Then they educate them in these corrupt school systems. So we just threw from the womb to the tomb. Our enemies got their hand around our neck, choking the life out of us until we perish. Go ahead.
Gone. This 1 Corinthians 15 and 24.
No, go jump down. I think it's like 26.
26. Gone. Verse 26. "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death."
Yeah, and the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death, because sin bringeth forth death. So how we going to escape this death? Because our Lord Yahweh Shai is coming with healing in his wings, and he's going to give us those new bodies. And we jump down to 51. Down to 51.
1 Corinthians 15 and 51. It says, "Behold, I show you a mystery."
I'll show you a mystery, because this is a mystery we're speaking about. Those new bodies, when we get caught up in the sky, this is a mystery. The church don't teach us that we're going to get new bodies. The church teaches of a prosperity doctrine where everything that you're going to get in this lifetime, and heaven is somewhere in a mysterious place that nobody never speak about in the church. Go ahead.
Gone. It says, 1 Corinthians 15 and 51.
And that you're going to burn forever.
Yup.
Gone. It says, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye."
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. So you blink your eyes, you change. Go ahead.
Gone. It says, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump."
At the last trump, the seventh trumpet. That's when we're going to be in rulership. Go ahead.
"For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible."
And the dead shall be raised incorruptible. Because those that are our fallen brothers that passed away before Yahweh Shah come back, that's in the earth, they're going to be risen first. And you can back that up with Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 4 and 16.
I'll get that precept.
Go read that again.
Gone. It says 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised uncorruptible, and we shall be changed."
Yeah, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Now you think about that, being as though we've been programmed by Eazy-E to think that once you die, it's over for you. But there's a power coming that can translate your soul to a whole nother being, a whole nother body, a whole nother vessel. That's what's coming. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. the children of Israel, the elect of Israel, to start with the 1/3 and the 144,000, is going to be delivered with those new bodies. Go ahead.
Con. 1 Corinthians 15 and 53, it says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality.
Yeah, this corruption must put on incorruption, which means these bodies is corruptible. If I wake up and jump out of the bed the wrong way, I can break my ankle. It's corruptible. We eat the wrong foods, we get disease. You know, these bodies are corruptible. So this corruptible must put on incorruption. Go ahead.
Right, which incorruption is perfection.
Fine.
Because the reason why the bodies are labeled as corruptible is because they're subject to sin. We're only made perfect right now through Yahweh Shai. Right, and there's a standard for that. But the body is subject to sin. Hence also subject to death. All right? If we were able to live perfectly, then we wouldn't have those strains, pains, aches. Right?
Yeah.
But the body is subject to sin. Right? Body is subject to sin. That's why we need Yahweh Shai, because we need to be liberated from these bodies that are holding us back from being able to properly worship Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Right.
Read, brother.
Verse 54, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality.
So when it's corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. Then what?
Then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is swallowed up in victory. So once we get those new bodies, we are no longer going to be able to pet God no more. And when you read, somebody did Jeremiah 31st chapter, 31 and 31. When you read Jeremiah 31st chapter, it speaks about the recipients that's going to attain those new bodies. It's not talking about the whole world. It's talking about one group of people that's going to get it. Go ahead.
Gone. Verse 55, oh death.
No, slack it. Jeremiah 31, 31.
Yeah, this is Jeremiah 31 and 31. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel. Go ahead.
And with the house of Judah.
With the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Because after the death of Solomon, the kingdom split into two: the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And the northern kingdom is synonymous with Israel, and the southern kingdom is synonymous with Judah. So, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Go ahead.
Verse 32, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt.
Yeah, when Moses sprinkled the blood on the people, when they signed the contract, said they was going to abide by the rules and regulations. Go ahead.
And it says, which my covenant they break.
Yeah, we broke that covenant. That's why we're in the condition we're in right now. Because we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and the Lord put us in captivity and placed all these curses on us. And now we're wearing the curses like a badge. We walking around here. We was coming to camp today. We saw a Jake smite with blindness and madness. So that's going to be a birthmark to the children of Israel. That's no matter where you are in the world, you are subject to those curses. You can't escape it. Go ahead.
It says, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord.
He reiterated, this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Everybody not an Israelite. Go ahead.
Yep. And it says, after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts.
Yeah, he will put his law in the inward parts. Go ahead.
And write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Will be their power, and they shall be my people. So once we have those new bodies with the law, statutes, commandments in our inward parts, we no longer will be able to sin no more, so we're not going to be able to die no more. So that's going to defeat death. Now, you'll see some people say, well, that's the Old Testament. The Old Testament is done away with. Somebody give me Hebrews 8, the 8th chapter, starting at the 8th verse.
Wow.
Because we got some people here that just believe in the Pauline doctrine, that just believe in the New Testament. Anything that happened before that, they nullify and say it don't matter. So the Old Testament is like they skipped over the whole Old Testament and jumped to the New Testament. Don't know the history of none of that. Now they're trying to apply everything to the whole world. But go ahead.
I like
And this the New Testament
read out
right
your
here.
Bible though. Yeah, read out your Bible though. Right, read it. Use it. That's the look up the precepts.
Is that the same ball?
Yeah, he never stopped. Never gonna stop. He gonna call him never gonna stop. Never gonna stop. Got it? All right, cry.
Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them.
Yeah, for finding fault with them. You know, the covenants is not bad. It's the individual, because they said the creature was created for vanity.
Yeah, subject.
Subject to vanity. So we subject to vanity. We subject to go off. So the law, statute, commandments are perfect. Go ahead, read it again.
For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
With the who? The house of who?
The house of Judah.
And who else?
And the house of Israel.
The house of Israel and the house of Judah. Not the house of Esau, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon. The house of Israel and the house of Judah. Now we already explained to you who Israel and who Judah was. Northern kingdom and southern kingdom. Go ahead, read.
Verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
Hold up, didn't we just read that in Jeremiah? Right? Not according to the covenant that I agreed with him when he was in the land of Egypt. We just read that in Jeremiah. And that's the New Testament backing up the Old Testament. Go ahead, read.
Because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, save the Lord.
Yep, he regarded us not, save the Lord. Keep going.
All right. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, save the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind.
Their mind. Go ahead.
And write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people.
Beautiful marriage. Once we get back in connection with the Lord, that's a beautiful marriage. You know, we're gonna be in subjected to our power, and we're not gonna be able to go right when he told us to go left. We're going to go left. He told us to go right. We're gonna go right. Now we subject to do anything. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor.
What? They shall not teach who?
Every man his neighbor.
So that means we're not going to, go ahead, continue.
And every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me.
So once we get those new bodies with the new covenant inside of us, we're not going to be out here teaching no more. We're not going to teach our neighbor no more. Because everybody going to know exactly what to do. Now when you go to Malachi, I think it's Malachi, start at the top, or Micah, let me see, Micah 4 verse 1, somebody start, Micah 4 verse 1. Because it's speaking about teaching your neighbor, right? We're not going to have to teach our neighbor how to live. This is all we're going to be in our inward parts. Now go ahead, somebody read that.
God is Micah 4 verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh shall
the mountain of the house of the Lord of Yahweh is the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Shall be established in the top of the mountains.
Shall be established in the top of the mountains. Over top of Russia, over top of India, over top of China, over top of the mountains. That's large governments. That's large powers. Go ahead.
And it shall be exalted above the hills.
Exalted above the hills, the smaller governments. Go ahead.
And people shall flow unto it.
And people shall flow unto it. Go ahead.
And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways.
What? He gonna do what? He gonna teach us of his ways. But previously, it just said that we're not gonna be able to teach. We're not gonna teach our neighbor no more. So that means that the other nations is gonna have to come and learn from us. They're not gonna get the law, statutes, commandments in their inward parts. They're gonna have to learn from us, and which means that they're gonna be subject to going off, and we're gonna have to rule them with a rod of iron when they go off. Where?
And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the Lord, and it says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh from Jerusalem.
So the other nations look forward to servitude. The same way you look forward to coming out to your plush apartments and seeing Jake out there with a cup in his hand, begging all through. Look forward to subjection. You know? But we're not going to rule the world in wickedness. We're going to rule the world in righteousness. It ain't going to be no more pollution in the air, no chemtrails, unmanned aircraft flying in the air, killing people. There's not going to be no fluoride in the water, no vaccination programs, no alphabetical groups. You know, nothing wicked is going to be able to roam this earth freely.
Got a precept.
What?
This is the book of Sirach 10 and 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Well, you break it down, bro.
Yeah, so like the brother was saying, you know, because of all them things, unrighteous dealings, injuries, riches got by deceit. You know, hey, it's got to be a new kingdom, man, under righteous rulership, man. And what the scriptures say as well, pretty much like under a righteous rulership, you know, people rejoice.
Proverbs
Righteous are in authority.
29
Yeah,
and
yeah.
2.
People rejoice.
Yeah,
Yep.
get it, Malak?
Yeah, brother can get that. But it just shows you that, you know, this place got to go, man. All right, this place needs a new kingdom. All right, under a righteous rulership. All right.
Got it.
And you're looking at the new rulers. We might be looking down, we might be gray hair, overweight, beat up, bruised up, driving trash trucks, picking trash up off the ground, sanitation workers, the airport workers, checking in bags. You know, we might be downtrodden right now, but in the twinkle of an eye, we're going to be your new rulers, and it's going to be to the strangers of our salvation.
Yep.
We're going to go into that too. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Yeah, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So when Yahweh shall come back and establish his kingdom, he's the righteous, and the people are going to rejoice. Go ahead.
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
Yeah, when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. You look around you, people mourning. Everywhere you look, people don't want to even get 6 feet close to you.
We got masks
Everybody,
on.
yeah, everybody got the
that
juice
shit
in them.
right.
So they got like they already programmed
Yeah.
to be angry
Uh-huh.
and to be frustrated. The people mourning.
Yep.
Because they got look at it. They got an incompetent president.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
the
They're
rules, so
losing their
people-
hope, their faith, their money is devalued. They can't buy as much with what they have. Right? So it's like, the irony is we vexed all the day long because of the wickedness that goes on, but we actually in a state of joy because we have the full picture. They don't have the full picture.
Yep.
That's the thing. So yeah, we frustrated, we annoyed, right? But we got peace inner peace because we got the comfort. They don't have that. So morale overall, globally, but particularly here in America, is way down. Way down.
Yep.
That's why, like, as miserable as you know you can be, you might go stop somewhere, but you still gonna be cordial with people. Motherfuckers don't want you to even be cordial. That's fucking negative, ready to, ready to snap on you at any second.
Bitch won't even open the door.
Yeah.
I went in an apartment building and shit
Rude as shit. I went
looked at me and then even.
I went, got myself a drink at Dunkin', and I had my hand out waiting for her to return to the window, and she threw the
Slammed
straw.
the shit?
She threw the straw in my hand, and if it weren't for my quick reflexes, that shit would have dropped on the
Damn.
You know? Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
you got to be so mad about? This country allowing you, it was a fucking dyke bitch. This country allowing you to be a damn weirdo, a fucking lesbian dyke. What the fuck you got to be miserable for?
And people think,
You know what I mean? But when you got to be miserable, you gonna be miserable.
yeah,
Because of the hell that's coming.
yeah.
But, you know, just to make the point, you know, it's like, you know, that's still cordial. You know, thank you, have a good day, da-da-da-da. But people are not at all trying to be polite, cordial, nothing. It's
Wax cold, man.
it's just dead in the air, you know?
Shit easy.
Yeah. These people have a messed up sense of righteousness, man. They think feminism, equality, this, that, and the third is righteous. But that's the reason why this place is so messed up, because them ideologies have been pushed. And what did it create? Great confusion, man. Right?
Yeah,
This is Babylon.
That's
Rock
right.
it, y'all.
That's right, brother. No, that's it. Yeah, these people just radiate confusion,
Darkness.
death. Like the brother said, dark. You can
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
And this is their kingdom. Remember, this is their world.
That's
This world was made from them. So they living in their world, yet they're as miserable as ever.
Yep. And that's why you can't have a do as thou wilt spirit. Everybody do what you want, do what you please. No, it has to be a certain set of rules
Right.
that everybody has to go by in order to establish righteousness, man. All right, because you see everybody want to do their own thing and do whatever. I commit all sorts of sins and iniquities, and look at the world we live in, man.
Y'all saw a video, I don't know if it's Wendy's or Checkers, where the chick was making somebody a burger, and she took the roll and smeared it on the floor and put mayonnaise on it and served it while being taped. That's the type of world we live in. You never know. The spirit of the people is off.
Right.
So when you go to one of these restaurants thinking that you're going to get served a good meal, and there's no telling what they did to it. It's gross darkness. Gross darkness.
Yeah.
People are in gross darkness. Then I got a precept.
You ready to say something, Malak?
No, I was just going to say a couple things dealing with people deeming what's righteous and what's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that people would deem in this world as being righteous is feeding stray cats and dogs. Taking an old lady across the street, you know what I'm saying? Or and these same people will tell you, well, you did this wrong, you did this right. The question you should ask those people is based on what? You know what I'm saying? Where are you basing your stuff off your moral compass from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we the only ones singing a new song. Everybody else is singing some garbage, some garbage. We the only ones singing a new song. We're not singing what we singing, then you leading the people astray.
This is how I feel it should go. I feel that this is right. I feel that this is. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody that's been educated by this Western society, which is Esau, you're a psychopath. You're through. You do everything detrimental to yourself. You eat all the wrong foods. You drink. You smoke all the weed. You're doing all kind of drugs. So when you been educated and you live in the Western culture, well, you got to.
No, I was just going to say, as you were getting into it, that do as thou wilt spirit is really no more than just self-destruction. Because the scriptures teach you that the heart is desperately wicked. So in order to filter through the different evasive thoughts and even pleasures, you need something higher than yourself to really dictate what's right and what's wrong. Okay? And that medium is the Holy Scriptures.
Standard,
The medium, the standard, is the Holy Scriptures through the power of the Holy Spirit. That's how things are really supposed to be established. You can see that not everybody got the faith, not everybody got the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, these things would begin to be established in themselves. But that do as thou wilt spirit, and everybody has an opinion, and everybody's entitled to it, is literally self-destructive. And that's what everybody is doing. Everybody hitting the self-destruct button.
But this truth is not for everybody.
Right.
This truth is for a special, selected group of people.
That's it.
Because if everybody could get this truth, it wouldn't be special. You know, the scripture speaks about casting your pearls before swine. Everybody can't get this truth. The Lord spoke in parables.
If people are not disciplined to control themselves and to learn what is called emotional intelligence, so people are just really responding off of emotions and vain opinions. That's it. That's it. And as a result, you got all these weirdos, you got all this death, all this destruction, and as the brother said, all this darkness, because the people are in gross darkness. They're in a great state of confusion. Right? And it's by design, because as the brother was getting into in the spirit at the top of the lesson was what? That it's this kingdom's at its end. It's reached its age. Right? And a lot of people don't understand that the end really began a little over 2,000 years ago. We in the tail end of this kingdom. So anybody thinking that America got a long time ahead of itself, or this new digital currency that they're going to introduce is going to save the collapsing of the banks and the, you know? It's a lie. It's BS. Okay? That's not going to happen. All right? Stimulus packages couldn't do it. Okay? Bailouts couldn't do it. Okay? Messing with the interest, nothing that they're going to do to try to prop this place up is going to work in the end. Even though we know these things are failing by design, but what's also part of that design? For this place to be translated into that new digital system, for this place to ultimately be destroyed as a result of it. That's what's written. Now, okay, it's going to be this new way, and America is going to have another 100 years, 1,000. It's not written in the prophecy. Right? That's just not going to happen.
Can you imagine being here another 100 years with the condition of
No, I can't. No.
If people walking on all fours right now, imagine how they're going to look 100 years from now.
These people couldn't even say yes with a straight face. You know, there was a time where they would have said, oh, America never going. Now, right? People are starting to wake up. People are starting to wake up. You know, people are starting to see America for what it is, and you know, understand that there is a ruling class elite pulling the strings, right? Because a lot of this stuff has come to light now. Like, you know, you had these so-called supposedly leaked documents You know, remember, everything's a psyop. Everything's a psyop. So what was the answer to the leaked documents? Arresting the supposed 21-year-old who was responsible, right? And somebody made the observation, which is true. When it's somebody who's really a nobody, it's swift justice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You got crimes being committed regularly by these different governments, no action whatsoever. Right? Which is more evidence that it's a psyop. But what's going to happen as a result of this? More internet regulation, that's all. Right? Because they're focusing on Discord, Telegram, right? WhatsApp. They're going to focus because they're bringing everything to a head and going to really bring the hammer down on what information you're able to access and what information you are not. That's all that it comes down to. How we going to justify more regulation? And that's what they said. They said that this is what we're going to have to do. Right? We're going to have to ensure this happens and put in this measure so we can keep track of all these things. So all they're doing is creating more of a surveillance state. Which they already have. Everything's already linked. That's the thing. Everything about you is already in your phone, already in the database, already somewhere in one of their servers. About every single person. All right? But the fullness of it, right, is going to be that CBDC that's going to be regulated through the CHIP, through the MOTP. That's what's going to bring everything into one. Right? Your identification, your monetary status, your economic, social status, medical records, everything is going to be brought into that one system via the CHIP. All right? Salakia, brothers. For the
What they gonna have? C-hit money phones?
Yeah, like. Yeah.
C-hit money phones coming.
Stars with the app. Oh, preset.
What do we got?
I got something. Get Kayaba, Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and 1, and also Barzal.
What was he reading? Was he reading something?
I was reading Hebrews 8 verse 8.
Okay.
Down to,
We done with
Oh,
that.
yeah, I got some.
Okay, all right, go ahead. And then 9, the government, Isaiah 95. That's like.
God, this Isaiah 5 and 20, it says, "Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter." Yeah, you know, and then basically going to the brother's point, you know, you got a lot of people, they'll look at us, you know, like we're evil because we, you know, speak all this, the truth that's within the scriptures. You know, we bring out the full truth. But, you know, these weird people out here, you know, like these Transformers, or, you know, these fucking Leslies out here. Yeah, you know, for some reason, you know, these particular people are put on a pedestal. You know, they're looked at as heroes and blah blah blah. Brave. Yeah, you know, it's some debate going on, you know, with that Transformer shooter in Tennessee. You know, some people are, you know, it's just a whole bunch of people, like, you know, playing, you know, both sides, whatever.
That devil's advocate type shit.
Yep.
Fine.
What?
You got
We finished in
10?
Riches and
Ecclesiasticus 10? Isaiah 9 and 5.
So, like, brother, did they finish Sirach? Do we really cover the Sirach 10?
No, they ain't get it.
Okay, riches and injuries.
Well,
Riches gotten by the sea.
Yeah,
I know we were kind of going into it.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention is, you got to remember, the land that we're standing on was stolen by our brother Gad. Okay?
Stolen
From Gad.
Yeah.
Stolen from Gad, stolen from Reuben. Okay? Primarily, or here in North America. All right? See, when Esau established himself over here, he actually started to take the land and give it to his people. This is why Esau was able to keep generational wealth.
Yeah.
Right? Land is really measured by property, right? Cattle, right?
Yep. That's that wealth.
Gold, silver. Those are real riches. So when he took down Gad, he started to take the land to himself. And then the government enacted certain I forget exactly what it's called. It's escaping me right now, but look it up. It was an act where they took land and they gave it to their people, right? And I was watching something where this idea that you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps and, you know, make yourself successful, they were going into how it's really a lot. A lot of people got leg ups and
Connections.
in order to create that generational wealth. Okay? Which is true. Beginning with the land or the so-called property that has been passed down for generations. You know, property got value. Okay? And depending on how you utilize that property, it could either go up, go down. Obviously, you know, there's some play there too. You know, manipulation, if you will, but they credit themselves being self-made. Esau will tell you he's self-made, and then he'll try to push that narrative that you just got to work really hard and all of this. But like the brother was saying earlier, we're under the curses. So even if we did get to a certain point in a career or a certain economic or financial status, that could be taken away at any moment. Okay, and that's not going to save us any damn way. That's you talk about misinformation or disinformation. That's misinformation right there. 'Cause Esau got to where he was through riches gotten by deceit, and that's how I kind of just wanted to highlight that. Just beginning with the property alone. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, basically, you know, a good example is what with Kanye West. You know, basically, it's you know, basically it's. With Kanye West, you know, it's a lot of people who are basically saying, oh, you know, the small house don't, you know, run anything or whatever. But really, you know, once Kanye West started, you know, saying what he was saying, you know, what happened? You know, the bank started, you know, taking away his money. So, who do you think controls the world right now, currently? Small house, right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, you see these certain celebrities or certain Edomites, you know, they'll say anything about Jake or any other nation or anything, this, that, or the third. Nothing ever happens to them. All right, but whenever it's the, you know, JOOs, is brought up, then, hey, what happened? Oh, we taking away this. We flagging your video. We taking the videos down. This, that, and the third. All right, but if anyone comes after Jake or these other nations, you know, it's okay. You know, they brush it off to the side. Oh, that was like happened years ago, or
well, there's a precept
that was
on
like
that. They
this
speak
and that.
lawfully concerning oppression.
Yeah,
Can a brother bring back Sirach 10, Baba Kushah?
I got it. Yeah,
Bring
10
that
and
back.
8.
Read that, and then Amapo, bring out that information. He actually was able to get it. So
First verse.
say again.
First verse.
No. To the
No,
point.
10 and 8.
To the point. All right. Sirach 10 and 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Right, so the kingdom is rightfully going to be given to the Israelites in whom it was established and made for in the first place. But you can't question, oh, why are we going to be subservient to you? Because you were given a period of time to rule, and look how you rule. Look how you govern. All right, even your own people. But you know, that's on y'all. That's on y'all. But we just established in the latter end, but we're gonna get that information and highlight an example of how these riches were gotten by deceit. And for such reasons, it's gonna be translated from you, all those riches, all the land that you think that you have, all the land that you occupy militarily, all the nations that you got subservient to you, and you have all them precious minerals and resources stored up, right, that you regulate, okay? It's all going to be turned over to a better, more choice, more deserving nation, which is the nation of Israel, in whom this world was made for, all right? But it begins with Yahushua, because we're joint heirs. So by default, when Yahushua comes back, right, he's coming to subdue all the kingdoms, and by default, that's going to be the kingdom of Israel. Because Yahushua, he's an Israelite himself. All right? He's an Israelite himself. But it's the kingdom of the Most High for the nation of Israel. And we as joint heirs will rule alongside Yahushua. Okay? So, with that being said, bring out that info, brother.
Yeah, so this is the information the brother was requesting. It's all called the Homes Act of 1862, right? Which this helped the form of Esau acquiring land from formerly us the Israelites, right? Here in America, or particularly Gad, right? So it says President Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act May 20th of 1862. On January 1st, 1863, Daniel Freeman made the first claim under the act, which gave citizens or future citizens up to 160 acres of public land provided they live on it. Randoms.
It says anymore because you don't know what their intentions are.
Exactly.
Especially Keisha, Steve. She finished.
But bring that back one more time.
Yep, it says
so they took public, what they call public land,
yeah,
stolen land, and then they started to let's say compartmentalize. They started to divide it and then decide who they wanted to give it to. They broke it up. Okay, we got this amount of acres. We're gonna give you some of them, Mr. Johns, Mr. Adams, you know, all these Edomites.
Yep.
Okay, primarily all these Edomites, right? Because you had something called the Indian Removal Act. They uprooted Gad, right? The tribes essentially, and put them into the reservations, modern day, ghettos for Gad and Reuben. And then they took their resources and gave it to the Edomites. That's riches. Okay, and then deceit. What's the deception? That fucking contract. What does that mean? And that's how Esau gets you. It's, look, it's on paper. You signed it. Your name's on it. This means something. Well, what's that paper enforced by? Penalty. Okay.
And then they got something called the $5 Indian, where you can falsify statements or evidence saying that you're an Indian, so you can get the land that the government had prescribed to certain Gadites. Right, so once the government gave Gadites some land, the Esau disguised himself as an Indian and took the land that the government issued. Yeah. So you got land, then you stole the land. You just a whole crook.
That's a straight thief, man.
That's it.
What is that? Frameth mischief by law.
Frameth mischief by law.
We should get that one. Yeah. But I'm gonna keep reading. It says, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act on May 20th, 1862. On January the 1st, 1863, Daniel Freeman made the first claim under the act, which gave citizens or future citizens up to 160 acres of public land provided they live on it, improve it, and pay a small registration fee. The government granted more than one second, one moment. I get the information back. Slock, 1 second. This came off. I'll get it right back. Yeah. So it says the government granted more than 270 million acres of land while the law was in effect.
Yeah, man. Speaks for itself.
You have any tissues?
So, I mean, that was the point that I wanted to bring out there, just touching on that. You know, and there's plenty of other examples. Plenty. That's just one I wanted to highlight. You know? So, brothers, you know.
So basically, Esau is crooked. Let me get a precept real quick. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. So no matter what you do, you cannot be made. The crooked cannot be made straight. And Sleazy E was born estranged from the womb. The wicked is estranged from the womb, which means their whole purpose is to be wicked, and he cannot be made straight. And he used that sword as a means to go around the whole world, rape, rob, and pillage. And because he was a king hunter, he also used him being a king hunter and him using that, him having that glittering sword, and went around and abused everything he saw.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You got proud Edomites that'll make dismissive arguments like, in history, there was a winner and a loser. Sure. Right? And the thing of it is he forgets that even if elements of what he's saying is true, there's still also accountability.
Gone.
So the fact that you try to make a dismissive argument like that doesn't justify anything. You're gonna have to pay for putting your hand on the Israelites.
Yup.
And all the nations that join themselves onto you are gonna have to pay for what you did to the nation of Israel. You're gonna pay for what you did to the Lord first. Then you're gonna pay for what you did to Israelites.
Then he-
So like, if I could say, it's just like the when Yahushua said to the lady, you know, the woman that basically like you wipe with their mouth and say you've done no wickedness. It's the same thing, you know, Babylon and Esau Edom has done. Like they basically do all that manner of evil, and they basically, you know, act as if they've done no wickedness. Like, act like they're absolved from any type of recompense or punishment, even though the scriptures literally say there's gonna be a recompense, and you're not gonna be able to escape that Esau Edom and the other nations. All right, so that's a good point to what the brother's saying. Like there is no escaping the Lord's judgment that's coming upon the other nations in Esau Edom. It's like, good.
And you think just because you call yourself the JOOs, you call yourself everybody but who you really are. You're trying to disguise yourself to escape the punishment that's coming from you. See, but the prophets and men of the Lord be out here in the highways and the byways, and we revealing that covering cast that we placed over the whole world. We telling the people who Esau is and his judgment is coming.
Yeah, and that's obviously the big debate that's going on right now. Like, who is the real Israelites? And there's obviously a lot of discourse amongst what the doctrine is. But there's one thing that can be guaranteed, and that's Esau Edom is not the chosen people, man. Just based upon when you partner the scriptures up with what's actually happening today, it proves that they cannot possibly be the Lord's chosen people. All right. Now they can have their own so-called religion. They can have that, right? Other nations have their so-called, but it's a false doctrine, it's a false religion, it's a false idol, a false god, man. It has no merit to the scriptures.
94.
There's no debate in that. Right?
Yeah, the prophecies don't fit you.
Exactly.
But the prophecies concerning Israelites don't fit the Edomites,
Yep.
who are trying to take on something that doesn't belong to them.
Just like when they tried to make OJ put that glove on he couldn't fit. They say, if you can't fit, you must acquit.
Yep.
You can't fit.
Got it.
Well, you said Zechariah
Yeah.
11,
5, I think.
11 and 5.
Yeah, possession toward himself not guilty. The
God.
other one is not, Psalms 94:20.
Zechariah 11 and 5. It says,
19.
whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
Yeah.
So,
What you got up?
yeah, so going to the point, that's how Esau's mindset is. When he came here to the Americas, he conquered, everything. Basically, he went over to West Africa, got the so-called Negroes, which are, the Judites. What happened? Esau, took all that, he stole everything, so.
Yeah, and then he'll say manifest destiny.
Yeah.
Make it right that he rape, robbed, and pillaged.
So that's how he the Edomites, man.
Right, well, it's manifest destiny that he's going to be destroyed for it, too.
Yep, and then it says, and
he
hold
knows
them.
that as well. He knows that as well. Right? How do we know that he knows it? Because his objective is to get everybody see it before the Lord can come back to save anybody. In his mind. But his plot is full of holes, because that's not what's written in the prophecies. Matter of fact, you moving towards that system is just expediting your own destruction.
And it is making prophecy come to pass. We seeing what the Bible really speaks about. You making it come to fruition by instituting these programs.
Yep.
And that's bringing us joy, because once you start doing these things, we know that the kingdom is over.
Yeah, we want Esau to come with whatever he's got, with up his sleeve. Whatever you got, man. It's gonna happen anyway, one way or another. The Lord gonna force your hand.
That is like he forcing you to blow your own brains out.
Yeah, and then it says, and hold themselves not guilty. Yeah, exactly. Because Esau at the end of the day, that's why, he got this, in God we trust. Hey, at the end of the day, it's been, 300, 400 years since Esau has done his wickedness. So, basically, Esau got a mindset, that basically, the Lord's with him. Because, he went all this time and nothing's really happened unto him. So that's why, you know, he doesn't hold himself guilty.
Look up Manifest Destiny. Manifest Destiny. Malaka. Manifest Destiny. Look that up.
Yeah, them damn demons that the so-called white man worships, all right, like Molech, Baphomet. Like he really believes that they're with him, right? That you know that he basically puts all his belief in that wicked power. And like I say, he's fully convinced in his pride that you know that these demons are working with him. You know, to fully you know implement all of his.
Well, the demons are working with him.
Yeah, they are.
They are
Yep.
working.
But the thing is, like,
demons are working for the Most High too.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing he don't realize. His pride is so puffed up that he don't realize that the Most High is actually, you know, going to bring him down.
Might gotta get named.
The Most High controls both sides.
Yep.
You could read about that in Isaiah the 45th chapter.
Yep. Yeah, because he fully believes that he's going to be able to fight against the Most High. So, you know, that's a pretty proud, you know, thing to think, you know.
Malaka. Yeah, you can read that.
No, I don't got it.
Manifest Destiny.
No, I don't got it. I'm still looking for it. There's somebody else trying to get it too.
He just wants the definition.
Yeah.
Bring up the definition for manifest destiny.
Yeah.
I was looking.
Here we go right here, Manifest Destiny. The 19th century doctrine or belief that the expansion of the U.S. throughout the American continents was both justified and inevitable.
Inevitable. Well, you can say that's true.
Yeah, that's all true. You know, it's just he uses that as a justification and then also to be dismissive, all right, of the cruel nature in which he was able to attain to that. Right? That's what we're calling into question. Because is there consequences for that? Yes. There are absolute consequences. Which the word manifest just means to be made known. Yeah. Made known public. All right? Destiny, everything is orchestrated by the Heavenly Father. You were essentially, the Lord had given this over to your hand. And how do we know that? Somebody get Psalm 75 and 8.
Yeah, then he'll make a
Psalm
whole,
75 and 8.
he'll make a justice system, prison industrial complex, and imprison all the poor people for the crimes that they commit. But then on the other breath, he said he's not going to get punished for the crimes he commit.
Psalms chapter 75, verse 8. For in the land of the Lord, the Most High, there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the Most High of Jacob, the power of Jacob.
Start at 6.
Verse 6.
As a matter of fact, start at 5.
I got you. Psalms
Start at 4.
Psalms chapter 75, verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But power is the judge. The Most High is judge. He putteth down one instead of up another.
Right. So the Most High gave you the kingdom that you rule in now. He set you up in the position that you're in. Right?
Yep. I got a quick one.
Look what you did to him. You destroyed it.
Well, that proves he did everything that the Lord told him not to.
And yeah.
Stiff-necked, proud.
Yep.
He the proudest, most covetous nation on the plate. But it goes to show you that that's a characteristic trait of what the scriptures call the wicked nation, right? That wicked nation, which is the Edomites.
Hey, and the Lord, he didn't do that because he's dealing with the Edomites, right? He did that to build back up our nation, man. All right, because we had to serve that captivity as a punishment because we went off, man.
Right. Isaiah 42 and 24.
Yeah.
But this brother has a precept. That's all I wanted to offer that.
Yep.
Yeah, and plus, you know, basically the Lord gave me Esau, you know, his kingdom. I mean, first thing, Isaac, you know, that was one of the blessings that Isaac gave onto Esau, that he would, you know, rule the world with the sword, you know. So real quick, I have Job 9:24. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Yeah, and who is it given by? It's given by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to Esau. You know, the wicked, of course, are the Edomites.
The scriptures say he setteth up over it the basis of men.
So basically,
Daniel 4:18. You gonna say something, Mike?
yeah. So basically, we basically got brute beasts ruling over us, and that's why the world is in the condition it's in now, because the wicked is in power, and he don't have a righteous bone in his body. You know, before he came over here, Gad and Reuben could drink out of the rivers, because they walk up to the rivers and put their hands inside of it and drink out of it. They only killed what they could eat, and whatever they killed, they used every part of the animal, from building tents, you know, to making utensils. See, this man, he kills for sport. He'll go in the wilderness and kill a moose and just cut his head off and bring the head back and leave the rest of the body in the field and put the head on the wall as a trophy. Everything he do is wicked.
Shit, you got them, you know, them bear rugs or whatever, you know, with the real bear.
Oh yeah, the skins.
Yeah.
And he also made skins of us.
Oh yeah, and he scalps.
Leather, human Jake skin.
Yeah, so, oh yeah, and you know, going to the brother's point, you know, basically the Lord giving the earth into Esau's hands, you know, basically the Lord wanted that to happen so you can see how the earth looks, you know, in a wicked state. Because what, like it says in 2nd Esdras, basically paraphrasing, you know, in order for the righteousness to come, you know, the wickedness basically gotta you know, the wickedness in the world got to be shown first.
Next preset.
Right? Like our elder apostles would quote their elders. Okay? That in order for us to appreciate righteousness, we got to learn what it's like to be under a wicked rulership. Okay?
If I could add a point to
Yeah,
manifest
and then
destiny.
we're going to get to this brother's precept.
You know, with that manifest destiny, like, you know, Esau really didn't know. Like, he really just basically did what the scriptures already intended him to do. It was all part of prophecy, right? Even from his expansion from the west, right, or from like the Europe and all that. And the video or the movie Christopher Columbus, 1492, Conquest of Paradise. It was spoken about how he knew that there was land over here by Ezra, right? But everything that Esau intended to do, Esau, Edom, right, and Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is America, everything that was intended to be done by Esau, Edom, and this place called Babylon or America was all intended in the scripture, right? It was all destined, all right, and Esau just went through with it, right? Just like it's going to be manifest destiny when we take the kingdom back. It's all spoken about in the precepts, in the prophecies, and it's going to happen. It's manifest destiny. So, you know, Esau was right about that. The idea that it was manifest destiny to expand westward and conquer and all that. Yeah, it was spoken about in the scriptures that was going to happen. It was given unto you as a blessing of the sword, right? To take the lands, right? So, you know, the Esau was just using what was given to him by the Most High.
Yep. And by the same token, you got to enjoy the benefits.
Yep.
Right? But there are consequences
Yep.
that come with it. So that's what your future is. He's trying to run. He'll say it's manifest destiny, but then he's trying to run not only from his own heritage,
Yep.
from his own identity, he's trying to run from his own inevitable enslavement.
Exactly. Yep.
Excuse
Yep.
me.
And that's manifest destiny right there. But you know, he's trying to, like you say, he's trying to run from it. It's a lot of good.
This goes along with Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 27, talks about Tyrus. It says, and say unto Tyrus, no, O thou that art situated at the entry of the sea, which art the merchant of the people for many isles, saith the Lord God, Yahweh. O Tyrus, thou hast said, I am of perfect beauty. Thy borders are in the midst of the seas. Thy builders have perfected thy beauty. How does the beauty get perfected? By, you know, conquering 10 tribes in the New World and creating a fictitious money system controlling the world economy. That's how he perfected it. And it start going through the description of how the ships and the trade, the different allies that America has, you know, they all control. Esau controls that globally. So that's America can only be the Prince of Tyrus, the King of Tyrus.
Yeah, his infrastructure essentially is founded on deceit, lies, deception, murder. The weaponry that the Most High gave him. And then he's allocating and distributing and, well, they, remember, even, anytime America's brought up, it's usually followed as hegemon. Because America, okay, who rules America? Esau, Edom. America really governs the global economy. And now there's a lot of intricacy there, but a lot of things are fashioned after the ways of the policies of Esau. Okay? And this is another reason why they're going to hate America. Okay? Because America is leading a lot of the debt, the chaos that's going on. And part of them hating America is them creating their own factions to try to withdraw themselves from having to use the American money system. And we already know that we basically at the collapse of the dollar. We're basically, it was talked about for a long time, but we now there. Okay, with these different nations trading amongst each other and relying on each other for resources as opposed to investing in the petrodollar or the American currency for other resources at this point.
Right. So it's Ezekiel 28 and 33. 32. And in their wailing they shall take up a lamentation for thee, and lament over thee. What city is like Tyrus, like the destroyed in the midst of the sea? Because Tyrus, ancient Tyrus never met destruction like this. That's what I'm about to read. So this is talking about the new Tyrus. Even though Tyrus, they were a port city, I believe they were a Canaanite city, and they were good traders, well-known traders, and they never reached the glory that as described here.
Right. All right. Right. Babylon have been in a golden cup in the Lord's hand, which made all the earth drunken. Yeah.
It says Ezekiel 27:33. Then when thy wares went forth of the seas, thou fillest many people and didst enrich the kings of the earth with the multitude of thy riches and of thy merchandise. This didn't happen to ancient Tyrus. He didn't make the kings of the earth rich. He traded within that area, the Mediterranean, may have went farther, but he didn't enrich all the kings of the earth, or the kings of the earth, in the multitude of the kings of the earth. You know, the trade they did, you know, they could maybe made a few kings rich, maybe, but they did. Ancient Tyrus did not enrich the kings of the earth. Let me read that again. Ezekiel 27:33. When thy wares went forth out of the seas, that's when America used to actually, you know, produce a lot of products. And even they still produce products. They export restaurants, McDonald's in every country on the earth, I believe. Yeah. They still export stuff. They export the dollar. Yeah. So now you can still say that, even if they don't manufacture like Germany and Germany. That's huge chemical plants. They got electronic microchips, Bosch technology. We got Taiwan too. But America used to be an economic powerhouse when it came to technology, like in the 1800s, early 1900s. All the inventions that came out of America. Most of the inventions came out of America, Germany. But yeah, the greatest inventor to ever live apparently was Thomas Edison. Apparently, he's supposed to be known as the greatest inventor to ever live. Most industrious. You know, then you had others like Germany and all that, in England. I think that's where the industrial revolution started. I think it was in England, Britain. All right, but the supposed greatest inventor to ever live was Thomas Edison. All right, he had his roots, I believe, in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Chicago. You can look that up and fact check that. New York. All the power lines got put in the ground and all that shit. That was the other guy, Bell. All right, but it started with Edison and all his inventions. All right. when thy wares went forth, of course there was, things that came before, certain technologies, discoveries and things like that. But when thy wares went forth of the seas, thou fillest many people, thou didst enrich the kings of the earth with thy multitude of thy riches and of thy merchandise. In the time when thou shalt be broken by the seas in the depths of the waters, thy merchandise and all thy company in the midst of the seas shall fall. All right, so that great fall is about to happen. All right, when the ancient Tyrus got taken down, they were either absorbed by maybe the Ishmaelites, or before that maybe the Greek Empire absorbed the land of Israel, the Levant, right there, the whole area. The Canaanites got absorbed up into that. So they're just not talking about the ancient Canaanites. He's talking about America. All right. This is Ezekiel 27:35. And the inhabitants of the isles shall be astonished at thee, and their kings shall be sore afraid, and they shall be troubled in their countenance. Yeah, when America falls. This didn't happen. They weren't astonished when Tyre fell, when Tyrus fell back then. They were absorbed either by the Greek Empire or before that. Because the merchants among the people shall hiss at thee, thou shalt be a terror and never shall be anymore. So they're going to be completely wiped out of existence after a certain time period. Edomites going to be done away with. All right, and as you refer to the landmass, America's going to be made a plain. I'll read that verse again. The merchants among the people shall hiss at thee. All right, they're going to be talking shit about America. All right, and they're going to be astonished at how complete the destruction of Tyrus is going to be. But somebody look up Hiss 27:36. The merchants among the people shall hiss at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shall be anymore. And never be anymore. All right. So Tyrus is going to be completely erased. This is not talking about ancient Tyrus. The genealogy of Tyrus was they call him Phoenician in the Greek. All right, that's a Greek way of saying the Canaanite. Yep. And that was a city within Phoenicia or Canaan. Yep. All right, because they tried to erase Israel. Otherwise, they would have just called it, that was separated. That was a land that Northern Kingdom couldn't hold. Right? Because you look at maps, the maps they get bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller. Because they couldn't get the Canaanite out of the land. The Northern Kingdom. All right? So Tyre, it became known, instead of being Israel, it was Canaan. So you still had Hamites dwelling up there. All right? Because you had, look in the Bible map, you see Galilee, Samaria, Judah, but then you got Phoenicia. That's Sidon, Tyre.
Right off the coast of the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because those are cities that Israel couldn't hold.
Borders Israel, and then
Tyre right there.
forget exactly what this area is here, but yeah.
It's up towards Syria. Syria.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah,
but when you look up, Asher was supposed to hold that land, but Asher couldn't hold it. Asher and Naphtali. If you look at the Bible map, I don't know if you can see it. If you look at in the viewfinder, if you look in there and see make sure they can see it on the camera. Right there. See, that's Asher's land. But Canaan was dwelling there before. So when Israel got pushed farther south and east, whatever kingdom conquered them, probably Assyria. Well, I believe Syria put Hamites back in their land, something like that. Right, they put Hamites back in. All right. So either way, whether they were look up what nation the king put back in the land. It's a scripture, and the kings said he put. Yeah, I believe one of them kings put Hamites, right? Because Canaan comes out of Ham anyway, right? Yeah. Yep. So they might not even been genuine Canaanites. Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Zebulun might have destroyed all the Canaanites out of the area, but kings that conquered Israel brought Hamites back into the land. That's a famous scripture. You should be able to find that. Yeah, and that's how that's why the Lord said, don't go to the cities of Samaria, because you had Ham. You might not have had true Canaanites dwelling in Samaria, in the north, but you had Hamites dwelling in the north. All right? Meaning north of Jerusalem. All right? In Samaria. All right? And that's why people get confused, because the land, the people that originally in the land, it changes. So even though they were a different nation there, they were still Hamites. So if Canaan wasn't in northern Israel, you had Ham, or another tribe of Edom. I believe he said he put other men in the land instead of Israel, or other men in the land instead of Judah. Just Google it. The men. Well, I believe it says it, he put them in Samaria. Might say that. You'll find it. But I'll read this again. It says, in all the Ezekiel 27:35 says, and all the inhabitants of the isles shall be established, astonished that day. Somebody look up Hiss. Somebody look up Hiss. One of y'all get on Hiss. Look at Hiss.
The word for Hiss is Sharak, which means it's spelled Sharakwa. It says the hiss, whistle, pipe. And then it says the hiss as a signal. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, they're going to be talking shit. They're going to be astonished that America got destroyed, which is Babylon. You can't be talking about no other nations. Not talking about European nations. It's not talking about, they're not as great as America. Not talking about China. They don't have a global money system. They're trying to get something together now. We're talking about the originators of the global system. America. America originated that global system out of Britain.
Yep.
You know, out of Britain.
Right, because remember, Britain was at
Right.
before America.
The ships, yeah. Navy, British Navy, yeah.
Right. They were first. They also had the international currency, right? Bretton Woods, and then eventually came over to America.
America, yeah.
The so-called almighty U.S. dollar became the global world currency. Right, but now that's
the Lord
fizzled
gave
out.
it to him. The Lord gave it to him because when they conquered America, they had time to grow and expand. All right, because Britain's like a little ass island. So America, they got a chance to have more babies. The Lord gave them the knowledge, you know, the inventions, the Wright brothers and all that. Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, you know, all the inventions they stole from Ephraim and Judah.
Right.
All right, and they used all that to get supremacy over the whole globe. After Britain, and they got over Britain, over their mother.
Right. And Esau as a whole, remember, he got rich through the Israelites' labor. All these different, what you call cash crops, whether it had been cotton, corn, sugar cane, all the different precious resources were extracted by the hands of the Israelites. And they became rich off of that, and even back then, off of pharmaceuticals, okay, drugs, all right? That's how they became rich. And then how did they remain established? Then they set up their fiat currency systems, all right? Because they had something that the rest of the world didn't have, which you can convert at one time their money system into gold, all right? You had a gold or silver certificate, okay? And they allowed other nations at whatever exchange rate to take that money and then get gold or silver. But then eventually that fizzled out.
That's off of trust.
And now it's off of what, the so-called trust of the Federal Reserve.
Other men,
The bonds and all that.
Right.
If I can say something real quick too, and like a good point too is like not only did they basically raped and pillaged all these lands, exported all this stuff back into America, making America this great land, right? That's why everybody's trying to come into America. But like America and Esau Edom has already raped and pillaged all these other nations and all these other lands to make America what it is today. And like on a low level example, you take like something like a supermarket like Walmart, for example. Walmart kind of integrated itself into certain areas, kind of wiping out the mom and pop shops to where the only place to shop is Walmart, right? So everyone kind of goes to Walmart. They become employees at Walmart. That's kind of how America is on a much larger scale, right? It became that giant place to be, right? That's why everyone's trying to come into America. But who did that? You know, Esau Edom did that by raping and destroying these other lands like Mexico, Puerto Rico, right? Like Mexico is completely destroyed because of Esau Edom, that people are trying to come into here, you know, that they take all the resources from that, you know.
And then you got, you got corrupt Israelites, right, that has sold out their nation.
Yep.
Right? That have taken advantage of the resources of the land and of the people. Yep. Because they're cut into a certain degree. Yep. As long as they comply with whatever agreements that Esau tries to make behind the scenes.
Right.
As long as they comply and they go along with a certain amount of the program, then those governments of the country are able to establish themselves. But they don't give back, they don't reinvest it into the people. Exactly. But that's also another reason why these nations are dividing themselves from America.
Yep.
Yeah, they cut them out of the technology because I was watching a documentary of microchips, and it takes, I think, like 12 weeks to 4 months, 6 months to make microchips. So that's a very delicate process. They have buildings that are so sophisticated that they have buildings inside of buildings, meaning like the weather won't affect what's inside, but it'll affect the outer layer of the building that makes microchips. They got to have a lot of technology to make a microchip. So that means they have to put orders in advance. You can't just start making a microchip. You got to make a microchip 12 weeks in advance. So you have to have your order already like within the year. You got to have your order set in. Right? So every nation can't do that. You have to have stable power. You got to have backup generators that are uninterruptible power supplies. You got to have all that, and that costs millions of dollars to do. That's why certain countries are, you look at it backwards because of the microchip, the lack of the microchip. Right? And you have mainly European countries and Asian countries that have that technology because they have the money and they have been together in a union to get to trade that technology.
Exactly.
And China, you stole a lot, but they had the capabilities and the facilities to do that, and then they help each other. Right? Mm-hmm. But you got certain African and Asian countries and certain Latino countries that they don't have those systems set up unless they get it from Esau.
Right. So America, essentially, they'll use those countries for certain things, but
they'll
when it comes
set a
to
factory up in there in those countries.
Right, because they look at them like a liability. They don't want their money being messed with.
Right, because they're not in the club. But the boy, Carlin used to say, you're not a part of the club or something like that.
It's one big club and you ain't in it.
You ain't in it, yeah. So that's why they don't have these advanced microchip manufacturing companies. Like Germany is a powerhouse.
You're talking about George Carlin, right?
Yeah, George Carlin.
Yeah.
Okay. Germany, I believe they make 50% of the world's microchips for automotive. Auto. Out of Bosch. You know, heard of Bosch Technologies? All right, that's in Germany. That's a documentary I watched. 50%. So if that company, and I know they use a lot of gas and electric. So if a fire happens in there, that's going to destroy the whole world. All right. When they walk into the Bosch microchip company, they have to take off their shoes. You can't even walk in the building. You got to put sandals on. You got to be completely clean. All right. Specks of dust, hair, all that will destroy the microchips. All right. So that's a long week. Somebody look at how long it take to make a microchip.
Even the littlest of the static charge can disrupt the whole entire microchip.
Yeah, I've destroyed my first microchip I ever bought. Processor I burnt.
Just by touching
it. I touched it. And now whether I was working, then I looked on it and I seen a burn mark on it. And that was static electricity. Burn the processor. That's when the AMD processor was first coming out years ago, like 20 years ago. How long does it take to make a microchip?
I got it.
How long does it take to make a microchip?
If I can add to that while they're looking that up, it proves how long it takes because when the microchip, like in 2020,
why didn't Daniel get that preset?
It stopped production, right? And there's a lot of things that was dealt with the microchip. PS5s, right, were hard to come by. 4 months. Cars were also hard to come by because of microchips. People don't realize that microchips are in a bunch of cars. So like used car market was through the roof because they weren't really able to produce cars like that because of specifically because of the microchips.
Right. Yeah. So Bosch makes 50% of automotive microchips.
Yep.
So if anything happens within a process, they have to stop
What y'all
And,
crazy?
Yep. And if they can't
Correct.
produce them, if they can't produce them quick enough, you're looking at a lot of products that aren't going to be able to come to the, you know.
But that's all by design anyway.
Oh, exactly. Yep.
Right, the supply chain thing. Yeah. So microchips, they basically they have to keep going over the same microchip for weeks and weeks and weeks until it's exactly right. I don't know how you exactly make the microchip, but the process takes how long?
But remember, that's why they eliminate competition for that reason. Because they want.
So it's automatically scarce.
Exactly.
Just by design, it's already scarce. So if you eliminate the competition, that's damn.
Right. You got to come to us for this shit. You got to come to us for this.
Yeah, well, if I can say,
You go through this process and system to get it.
Yep.
They don't want no competition. That's the whole idea of.
Yep.
It's all BS. They want to eliminate as much competition as possible, and then anybody that they can't take over, what do? They buy them out.
Yep.
They buy them out so they can have full, total control.
Yep.
Right? And this is why your graphic card. Look up the average price of a graphics
Brothers got
card.
that.
So this is why your graphics cards and processors cost so much money. You know, even though it's still inflation and they lying about stuff too.
Right.
But this is why it costs so much money, because how long it takes? 4 months. So it takes up to 4 months. I guess it also depends on the type of microchip too.
Right.
Yeah, details on that or something?
Yeah. So
The silicon,
I'm gonna go
sand,
into it because I put in like the
silicon,
semiconductors, right?
Right,
Chip,
yeah.
microchip, right? So, right. So microchips, and this is off of ASML.com under technology. It says microchips are made by building up layers of interconnected patterns on a silicon wafer.
Yeah, the wafer it got cut out of sand. Yeah.
It
Then
says
they dope it.
the microchip manufacturing process involves hundreds of steps and could take up
Hundreds
to
of steps. This is why it's scarce. And then they can make it artificially more scarce. And this is why your microchips cost. This is why it costs for a graphic card, the top graphics card will cost you $1,000. Somebody can look the price up. Go ahead.
graphic card. It says the process involved hundreds of steps and could take up to 4 months from design to mass production. Now I'm gonna just go into the steps, right? How many steps does it take to make a semiconductor chip?
And of course, it's going to differ based upon what type of microchip, obviously. But you know, if you're making a chip to put on a motherboard, or a very small chip, a processor chip, those are going to take longer amount of time.
It says in order for silicon to turn into a semiconductor chip, it needs to go through several complex process of wafer manufacturing, oxidation, photolithography, etching, deposition, and ion implementation, metal wiring, and edge and packaging. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's taking 4 months to make a chip.
It says
Go ahead.
the 4080, the RTX 4080.
Yeah, how much is that? 2 stacks?
It's about like 2,000.
2,000?
It only takes them roughly, it says 300 to produce. $300.
Oh, they make all
Oh,
that
it only
profit.
taking 300. Oh, because the R&D.
Yeah.
They got to pay for the facilities and everything.
Yeah.
But they got to pay for those complex buildings. The building inside of a building that's shielded from atmosphere and all that.
Yeah,
It's
but-
shielded
yeah.
from lightning, shielded from humidity, all that. Those buildings cost hundreds of millions of
But in the video, these companies are making they're making a sizable profit. They're making a ridiculous profit, no matter how much expense goes into it. And like that's a point. Is like Esau and these corporations. They make sure that there is no competition. A good point to microchips is also food. Food is very scarce only because they don't allow people to just produce their own stuff. They make sure they have a foothold in the way the food is produced, and the way the agriculture, FDA. You can't just start growing your own crops and sell it. Why? Because it will then create more of a what's he called, like a competition, right? But microchips
It gives you an alternative.
It gives you an alternative. Yeah, and microchips is
You don't have
another
to go
thing.
for them.
Like there's so many things that you can now just do on your own. But Esau makes sure that you have to have certain qualifications.
They
you know,
do
They
that.
built this shit
make
like this.
milk
These fucking houses,
pasteurized.
get a real ass
Yep.
lawn.
You gotta pasteurize your milk.
Yep. And the thing is,
This whole thing should be a damn farm right here.
the thing is, like they try to make it seem like it's due to your safety, but it's not all just due to
Well,
safety.
no,
It's-
that's all been founded to be a lie.
exactly. It's just a
That's
way.
all been founded to be a lie. They'll talk about Amish farmers violating these regulations
yep.
and finding so-called diseases and stuff like that. But then when you look at the track record of the FDA, how the hell's all this stuff getting through?
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
recalls,
Yep, yep,
weekly,
yep,
monthly.
Yep.
Arsenic. You go and you buy what you think is the better of the two options. You're paying double the price just to find out that there are levels of arsenic found within your organic spices.
Yep. Hell of it.
So where is this stuff coming from? How long has it been there? How long did it take for an independent study to be allowed for them to find this information out? So how long has this been going on?
Yep. Yep.
But they worried about somebody whose intentions are good, trying to provide to the public another alternative means of getting resources. And like you said, they're going to step in and somehow they're going to shut that down, interfere with the process because,
no matter what it is. Yep.
right, because they want it their way. They want it control. It's the simple answer is they just want control. Look, the scripture's called the hour of temptation for a reason. So they're closing people off from finding means to be non-dependent on the system. But they can't have that. They need interdependence.
Yep. It's the same thing with Iran and their nuclear power plants and stuff like that. You know, they step in there and say, no, you ain't doing that, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, they had
They don't want them to become
Yep.
independent. Generate more money.
Yep, and to my point earlier, Esau this is talking years ago, all right? Years, thousands of years ago, they already destroyed these nations and made them basically third world countries and don't allow them to, to get to the status that America is. America just, is that foothold, man. And Esau Edom it owns everything, man. They're talking about the elites, man. The elites already put strategic people and strategically destroyed all these lands, man, to make basically the daughter of Babylon, America, it is what it is today. It doesn't allow you to become your own banking system, you to become your own chip producer, right?
And a lot of people are lazy anyway. They don't want to do that. Nobody wants to go through the laborious, rigorous tasks of planting and growing crops. That's the thing. That you want to talk about a process. That's a process to nurture a seedling, to ensure it's getting an adequate amount of sunlight, water, nutrition.
Well, if I could say
that's a rigorous task.
Yep.
But Jake ain't about to be doing that. See, people have succumbed to the modern conveniences.
Exactly. Yep. Which
that is going to be their downfall, because once these things are taken away, once the idea of scarcity is there, it's going to cause a lot of people to fold right into the system. It's going to cause them right into accepting that seed.
If I can add to that, they created that by convenience, like the brother said, but like things like what's that called where they had all the fish in one little pool? What was that?
Koi pond.
Was that
Koi pond.
Something it's like what they do with it. Farm raised fish, right? They do things by mass producing it in just terrible means, like cows, right? They just had them eat the corn to beef them up, chicken, right? They stump.
Well, these animals are in poor conditions because the most recent was it a manufacturing plant or some sort of farm, but upwards into 18,000 cows died in that fire. How did you lose 18,000 cows?
Oh, one farm?
Yeah, or 15,000. Somebody look up 15,000 cows burn in fire. How did you lose 15,000? You had to have been keeping them in terrible conditions in order for losing all of that.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I mean, it speaks volumes in terms of other, diabolical shit that this Edomite is doing, but just highlighting on one of many points you can make. Y'all got it?
Yeah, I got it for you.
You got the article?
Yeah.
All right, you can read it.
It says an explosion and fire at a dairy farm this week.
Okay, was it dairy farm? Go ahead.
At Dimmitt, Texas, killed thousands of cattle and injured one person. According to the Castro Country authorities, about 19,000 cattle
19,000
has been at the South Fork Dairy when Monday's explosion happened.
Did they give you an amount?
36 million of worth of cows.
Damn.
36 million of what?
Of cattle. 36 million of cattle.
36
in Texas.
million cattle.
Worth of cattle.
Oh, worth.
Crazy. $36 million burning up in the wind.
That's crazy. Yeah. But like my point is, they created these ways of mass producing things to make it convenient. So the time it would take to plant a little vineyard or a little have your own little farm, shit, by that time he could have had, you know, 8 burgers just by going to the damn supermarket by their means, right? So like the brother, you know, made a good point. Like people are too lazy and they don't have the time because things are so convenient nowadays, right? People are just gonna pay the price for that.
And they're scared to fail too. That's why certain countries don't do it. Because if you build a facility like for the microchips and everything, you need people to buy those chips. So if you build a $100 million building, you know, you ain't got no buy it and sell it, it's gonna shut down.
Right. Well,
that's why certain those countries, like the African countries, South American countries, they just buy it, just import it. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's why what they'll do is they'll create a consumer base. Where there is no need, they'll create one. You know? That's part of the whole plot and scheme when going into development. The first thing that is taught when you go into marketing is you got to find your clientele. Right, you got to create a market, right? If there isn't a market, you got to create one, you know? So they push upon people these different goods, whether they need them or not, because that doesn't matter. They'll create the need. They've created the need for so many pointless items. The list is, you know, it's long, man.
And if I could add to the brother's point, like, you know, they already have a well-established chip-based system, so like they can undercut the price, right? So what it takes, what would it take for a small you know, mom and pop shop that's trying to get themselves into making microchips? It's going to cost them you know, a lot more to be able to, you know, make a little bit of a profit. Meanwhile, they're already fully established, so they can, you know, they can take it. It takes them only $350, $400 to make a chip because they have, you know, the warehousing for it. They had the supply chain for it. It's already been established, so they're able to make it and mass produce it a lot quicker and cheaper, and then sell it, you know, and undercut.
That's why, that's why everything is overseas, because it's easier for them to exploit labor. That's where most of their costs are cut from, is the labor that it takes to produce these items. You know, massive labor exploitation. You know, you try to pull that shit here, you're gonna get a lawsuit.
And they made a deal with the heathen.
That's right.
That,
that's
true. I'll read that real quick.
Well, that's part of it. They can't just shut up shop and exploit that nation without that government giving them the go-ahead to do so. They have to have an agreement. They have to have an agreement, right?
Revelation 18:3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. Right? The technology is part of abundance. The technology.
My brother got Daniels. Wise than Daniel. That was called.
Ezekiel 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
Yeah, it's all figured out in the process. And also do how to make microchips, how to process the electrical information over time. You know, and as the microchips got better and better, it's a longer process. They can fit. Look up how many transistors they can fit on one semiconductor. I think 1 billion or something like that. They can fit a lot of transistors. And I don't know exactly how the technology works, but I know the more transistors you fit on a board or a chip, the faster it is. You know, then they have different types of technology. They go up.
It says a 5 nanometer semiconductor, you know, CPU. It says 114 billion transistors.
On one, yeah. And that's why it takes so long. The technology is they're working at a nanometer level. All right, so you got to have the environment to actually support that. You got to have the terrain, everything. You can't be prone to earthquakes. One earthquake could destroy the whole damn building. Then you have to bring machines in to level everything out. You got to bring that guy. There's a lot of technology that goes into it. So, not every nation can produce microchips.
Yep.
Yeah, then your employees got to be smart. They just can't be no Joe Schmo.
Yeah, they can train it.
If I may add too, you got like you would say like, oh well, China, you know, has a foothold in like a lot of these you know, chip space, like and I guess you could say technological things like the iPhones and all that, but that was really kind of kind of funded here in America first, and then they export it into China because they found out that there's so much more money to be made or profit to be made by giving it to Moab and Ammon to kind of produce that stuff and then bring it back overseas. You know what I mean? So there's a benefit to
Yeah, I believe it's the labor, right?
Yeah, yep.
Labor costs,
Yep.
not the shipping. I think they already own the ships anyway.
Yeah, because
so they can get their product on the ship.
Yep.
That's not even the issue.
Because someone will try,
They can get their product on the ship.
Because someone will try to say, oh well, China, is more technological advanced and all that, but you got to understand that it's really mainly because of America importing a lot of that stuff over. They don't have to. America can easily just stop importing it, but they
America can produce anything.
yeah they just see it as a benefit to them to do that, you know.
Right, yeah, because they made a deal.
Exactly.
They made a deal with Moab,
Yep.
with other nations, to manufacture America's goods.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the internet. If I'm not mistaken, I believe United States was the main, they had the most users of internet clients when it first was established. I want to look up.
Well,
look it
just
up,
on
but-
China, I do believe they are technically the second largest importer. They're not just the largest exporter of goods, or one of them. They're actually the second largest importer of goods as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got 1 billion people. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand. Yeah, they got a major population,
So they have a lot of industry.
but they have a lot of industry. And with those agreements, they've allowed an avenue, right, for those different goods to be exchanged,
Processed and manufactured.
right? Cheaper labor. Read the book of Revelation, right? Nations were able to get rich because they have made money through those agreements. Okay? They made money through those agreements, through America. Okay?
Because they got the technology to manufacture. All they need is the schematics.
Yeah.
So they give China the models, the 3D models, and they have the machines to to duplicate the parts and put them together.
Yep.
So that's the deal that Moab made with Babylon, with America.
The horse, yeah.
So that what takes away jobs from Americans. They export because if they really was cared about, American economy, they would bring the jobs would have never left.
Right.
There would have been a certain percentage that they did as a favor, and then but the base would have still been in America.
They created an environment in America where it just wasn't sustainable. You got people that will be advocating to buy in America, but it's not affordable. That's the thing, it's not affordable. So what do? You buy the alternative, which is much cheaper, which is typically outsourced and then imported. They outsource everything, and they import it back, and then they sell it here in America.
So the system is designed to fail.
Yep, there you go. It's designed to fail.
So if we like what Trump was trying to tell them, what they already knew, wasn't he?
Right.
He wasn't saying anything that was new.
No.
About trying to put taxes on imports from other countries. I believe specifically on China.
Yep.
So
Tariffs, yeah.
To make it so America would get back more money.
Right.
But America is designed to fail. This is why the tariffs didn't work. Why they didn't go through with it. Precept right here. This is Isaiah 14:4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. I heard the elders saying about the exactness of gold. Look that up. The exactness of gold. It's in one of those. It's one of the words that says gold or golden. The exactness of gold. I heard the elders break that down. Referring to the exact. I heard the possible bar. And I think possible tar said it too. The exactness of gold. So look up golden. It might be there, or maybe golden somewhere else. Right? But the technology, Esau, he controls it because he controls the manufacturing process.
Yep.
And he committed a lot of money into Taiwan. Taiwan really should be in America. That really, the technology, all the microchip factories and all that really should be in America. If America was going to continue, forever. The reason why it's not a country like Taiwan, the manufacturing of the microchip is not in America because America is designed to fail. But we should be exporting that technology to the world, since we're the head of the nations, right? Yeah. America is the head of the nation, so we should be, America should be exporting that technology to other people. Now, since America's going doomed to fail, what America did was made a deal with the Taiwanese. I believe it's Thailand, right? Thailand, yeah, Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah. Thailand is on the mainland of China, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's Taiwan. That's the island, right? That's the island with the microchip factory. Right? And I believe that they live like a first world life there on that island. That's like it's like a first world quality of life. I believe they pretty much got like Western prices and all that. Everything is like modern on that island. Right? Is that where the Passport Brothers was going? That's one of the countries? Or was that Thailand?
They go to Thailand.
They're Thailand. Okay, so they got the discounted clothes up there. All right, so they got the in Thailand, they got like name brand, like what you would consider name brand in America, for like 75% off.
Crazy.
That's why you always see like in these movies you'll be seeing people in other countries with like American logos on them and stuff. It's because their clothes is really cheap, to manufacture. I don't know if you're just seeing rich people from that land or wealthy people from that land, but you'll see the Western name brand clothing. Right. You'll see them wearing it, because that's where it's manufactured. And they did that because they made a deal with those nations, right? Because you can't go around conquering lands and creating a fictitious system without giving something back to your allies, even though they're getting the raw deal anyway. Like the Europeans are getting the raw deal now with the gas and oil from Russia. Do we find the exactors? Where's that? Read it.
This is Isaiah 14, and I'm gonna go to verse 3. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy trouble and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressors ceased, the extractress of gold ceased.
Extractress of gold. So, besides actual gold, Esau extracts resources from other countries. Gold too,
This is exactly what Esau does, man. It says exactor. It says one who extracts or demands by authority or right. Hence an extortioner. One unreasonably severe in injunctions.
But he does that indirectly also. He doesn't have to do it directly. Right now he does it more so indirectly. He demands it, like the rare earth metals.
Right. Well,
he'll get stupid leaders in Africa to trade their rare earth metals for FRNs, and money in the damn bank. So they fear America.
Well,
but now they side with the Chinese. Now they're doing the same thing the American was doing with the Africans. Now the Chinese are trying to do with the Africans now.
Yeah. Hey, brother, what book are you in again?
14.
Right. So I just want to bring out a quick point. Like he said, they fear America, but you gotta. Come on, hurry up, man. Hurry up. If there's a fire, get to it.
Truck having shit.
Why the one going that way?
It literally slowed down so cars could pass him. Like, that made no sense.
This is the city of confusion.
See?
I don't mean Philadelphia, but yes. So you have NATO, which is the military-industrial complex, and then you have the EU, the economic side of things. You got to understand, these poor countries have been taken advantage of through something called the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Okay? And they've caused these nations to be bankrupt, right?
Bail them out.
And in debt, because they loan them money at such high interest rates that they can't pay back. So what do these smaller countries do? They forfeit their country, their resources, and the peoples themselves over to America. This is why they're able to exploit them. Because they ultimately have to pay that money back. Right. Or they'll send it out economic hitmen. You gotta look up economic hitmen, where they'll create crises in certain areas, destabilize the region, and then they'll.
War.
That's where I'm going. So that's what they'll send in their troops, whether because they'll either send American troops or NATO troops, or they'll recruit individuals, right, to become what's the word? I forget the term. Not spies, but they'll actually recruit and they'll train their military. No. There's a technical term for it. But anyway, those are tactics that they use. If I think of the term, I'll bring it back up. The Spirit will allow, Lord's will. But I just wanted to make that point. So this is why the nations are starting to hate the Horde. Even their allies are doing dealings with these other nations, because we're at a time now where they're done with America. All right, to a certain degree. Because remember, America still got a strong military. It still has influence economically. All right, so even though, yeah, you're seeing deals being done and certain nations siding with one another economically, pulling together their resources, America's still in the mix. You know, America's still in the mix. And in that same chapter, it's going to tell you how this place, basically the pomp was brought low, right? You know, and they have become weak. In other words, these other nations have become strong economically, militarily, right? Through these different factions that are now going on. BRICS, right? We always mention the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America. But you have a lot of other countries that are trying to get membership. Okay? They're trying to get membership to be a part of that union, to separate themselves further from America. That's all I wanted to say, because you got to take into account, that's why these other nations hate America. Because they're over there policing everybody, either through the economic side of things or through the military side of things. And then even their own allies who have a benefit to some extent through those unions, they're pulling back. Okay? Because it's being posed as a better union with these other nations, what gives them more economic freedom, more financial freedom, as opposed to, you know, having to adhere to America's demands. You know? So
You said the right word too.
well, it's the Spirit.
It says, for the word exactor in the definition, it says, one who compels another to pay more than is legal or reasonable. That's Esau. I mean, that's.
Yeah, because you'll have still trade weapons. For debt. So basically, if an African country they're going to fight a war, another country, they'll get guns, weapons from America or Russia. They're not getting debt with something that they have in their land. So. And that's how the cycle, one of the reasons why the cycle starts.
Yep.
Or one of those countries will see a technology that they want, then they'll trade it for something within their land. Right? And that's how you get it. That's how you get in debt. So every whatever the contract is, you got to pay that country back. So if those countries didn't lust after the different technologies that these Edomites had, they wouldn't be in so many issues. Right? But they want to trade because they're lusting after, they're wondering after the whore.
Right.
That's in the scripture.
Right. They want to be a superpower like America. They want to be on that level. They want a military.
Want a TV. They want a TV. They want a microwave. They want shit like that. So they see that, and they trade stuff for it. Well, John even marveled in the 17th chapter.
Absolutely.
So why did this thou marvel?
Yeah.
So those other nations, they marvel at how illustrious and voluptuous America is and the different European countries are, and they want to trade with her. So when they trade with her, they have to trade things in their land. And then you have, they get under bad contracts of that trade, and then they end up paying what they promised to pay back. So then, if they can't pay back what they promised, then they have to pay back to something else. They can own a toll road. I believe in Jamaica, Chinese built a toll road in Jamaica, and the Chinese own the road now.
Yeah, well, a lot of Chinese have infrastructure in Africa. Yeah, for those reasons. For those reasons right there, you know? Matter of fact, China right now owns a lot of property here in America because they're holding a lot of America's bonds, debt. So what are they exchanging it for? Land, property. Everybody knows this dollar about to collapse. So everybody pulling out in different ways.
And if they own
You
you
know?
own it, then they can have a say so on what gets
Right.
produced when it doesn't get produced.
And then remember, they have I don't know what the technical term for them, but you do have foreign Chinese troops here on American soil. I forget what those little, but they have their own force already here. Okay, and you can look that up. You can look that up.
Military-age Chinese men is coming in from Mexico. Busloads of them.
Yeah, so this place is finished, man. This place is finished. That's the point. You know, you see everything trending a particular way, and it's ultimately going to serve as America's inevitable demise, man. Which is going to come via the thermonuclear missiles, right? The Lord mustereth the host of the battle. So everything's being primed and prepped, right? For inevitably that war to end all wars, World War III or World War III, okay? But what's got to happen first? The C-hip got to be made mandatory, which we fast approaching that, okay? Fastly approaching just that, okay? With the Fed now, with the digital currency, okay? Basically, this place is through, man. Entirely through. No hope, zero, zilch. You know, they just got to come out and basically tell the people, listen, this is the new system. But they waiting on the right crisis, you know? But they moving closer and closer to whatever they're going to do. Whenever they're going to pull the plug or whatever they're going to allow to happen that's going to, you know, allow them to justify putting that C-hip into law, you know, officially. We're going to have to make that choice. And until they do, you see what they're doing. They're polluting the waters. They're burning up the manufacturing plants. Bill Gates is one of the largest farm or land owner in America right now. And you see the direction he's going. He wants everybody to eat the World Economic Forum's bugs and
eat off insects.
Yeah, insects. You know, he's on that tip.
Yeah, you know.
All right. He believes in lab-grown meat. So all this, the reason why they're doing that, he's buying up all this farmland. The WEF is saying, listen, in order to decrease CO2 emissions, because they're saying that cows are responsible for climate change. They're blaming everything. Yeah, they're blaming everything. So when this collapse does ultimately happen and they roll out that C-hip, they already got what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, all the resources, right? You're going to have to go to them for them. But what they're going to offer you is basically death. The C-hip is death. The resources that come with it, that's all death. That's all death, man. Well, yeah. Yep.
So Esau, his sin is he extracting more than what's necessary. He extracting more. He's extracting by authority, like demanding more than what's necessary.
I believe it's
gold.
Yeah.
Extracting resources.
Extracting resources.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
that's all it's doing. And now they get mad that the Chinese are doing it in Africa. So they get jealous. That's why they established AFRICOM, I believe it's called, military in Africa. You had a black dude that's the head of that. It's a Sessioner. He looked like Jewites. You gotta look up his where he grew up and all that. I believe he's a Judite. Or he might be from one of the African countries. All right? But that, America, they're jealous that the Chinese are building a foothold in Africa. All right? So they're doing the same thing. So this proves that the head of the nations are the Edomites. All right? Esau. All right? And then Moab, running up behind Esau.
And that's a precept too.
15, Edges.
Yeah.
Babylon, thou be partaker with her sins.
Yep. Yep.
That's here. I get it. Second Edges chapter. Oh damn. Second Edges chapter 16 and 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. I'm going to go to that point real quick. In a second. This is going to be...
You got it?
Not yet.
So the point is their destruction is at hand. Okay. That's what everything that we're discussing is culminating into, is destruction. All right. For Esau, for the other heathen nations, and for 2/3. Okay. So I'm gonna give it to the next brother until I can find the precept.
Yeah, I got it. This is Habakkuk 2 verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long and unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
World resources. Trading unfair amount of resources for construction, for technology. Got more?
It says, so they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be booties unto them.
And ultimately destruction. But now you have different officials or cracks within the system. They're creating more of an economic system away from America. So they're building up their unions outside of America. All right? So that's just part of the destruction of the system. So what Esau going to do, he's going to try to bring in the New World Order, to bring them all together. All right? And it does say that they're all going to be within that economic union, the trade. To recognize that each country is going to have their own system, but it's going to be all via RFID microchip. So all the nations are going to agree, even as they still have their separate banks and
like the Chinese, they got
agreements and all that.
They got the digital yuan. The Russians, they got the digital ruble, excuse me, and they're going to have a system set in place where they can still do their trade.
Right.
So it's all going to be interconnected into that one network where, and you have individuals that were trying to create that technology anyways, where you could have a digital currency, but you could, you could transfer it into any, but that's what they ultimately want to do anyway. Yeah, they can transfer it into any currency. One digital system for every currency. All right.
24/7.
Right. You can exchange it, right, at whatever rate, but it would all be digital, right? So they're gonna have to agree to that. All both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Right?
And they're agreeing on a way to authenticate it faster.
Right.
But right now, it takes time. But that's what they agreed upon. So now it can be settled immediately. It's just they don't want to.
Right.
So now with the new system, they're just going to make it so it's settled. The technology is going to be to the point where they believe it, they trust it that it is actually real when you make the transaction. It's going to settle immediately.
Right. The collapse that's going to happen here in America is going to have an effect worldwide. This is why these nations are going to have to whatever degree they do, comply with that new system. Remember, the sum of the matter is the Lord is going to burn this place up, and that's when those nations are going to hiss and see the destruction and be bitter, because now they are at a total loss. Right? But that's going to come through destruction. But when this economy totally collapses, that's going to affect and impact the economics of other countries. Right?
Yeah, that's why they're trying to set up their own little system. So they can have a contingency plan. Even though they're still going to be together on certain levels,
yeah.
But they're going to have their own separate thing, their own separate economy. Right? So, because they know ultimately America's going to be destroyed. Right? They're going to destroy it. All the nations that have nuclear arsenal are going to shoot their missiles on America. Eventually. Right? So.
And I believe OPEC did officially agree to exchange their oil for, is it yuan? Is it both ruples? Is it with Russia or China or both? It might be both. It might be both. And that was a huge blow to the dollar system, man. Because if you wanted to access that oil, you had to exchange your currency, specifically the dollars. And now that they're accepting other currencies, you know, it's bringing this currency, all right, making it even weaker. Okay? It's making it even weaker. You're going to lose, you're going to see things increase. You're going to have, because we already have a percentage of inflation, but things are going to go from inflation and stagflation to hyperinflation. All right? Because there's in other words, these dollars got to go somewhere. But if nobody's buying the dollars, then you're going to have an abundance of them. So we're going to see hyperinflation, right? Before this economy officially collapses, you're going to see it. Brother, you got that information? Should be a simple search. Come on, man.
This is
should have two brothers on it.
Yeah, this is going into like, I know they had OPEC had decreased, like cut off the amount of barrels they sell. Like that's something else.
Okay.
Like,
we'll move on until we find it. Move on until we find it.
That I'll find it on Zero Hedge Friday. That's just going to increase the gas prices. Zero Hedge.
Brother, you can continue with your precept in Isaiah.
Go back to Isaiah or Habakkuk.
Salak here, wherever you left off.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 7. It says,
I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia. Look up Saudi Arabia. Go ahead.
Yeah, come. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Because of men's blood.
Break it down too.
Yeah, come. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, so the other nations, man, they eventually gonna retaliate because Esau is always the one pushing those buttons. So they're gonna push back, and the Most High is building these nations up so they can eventually take America down. You know, we at that point. And it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of this and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. You know, it's no coincidence that Esau is doing all this, and it reflects the scriptures. You know, because he's the one that's going to, he's the wicked, okay? And all these nations are going to take him down.
They all going to be destroyed too. So the nations are going to take America down. They're going to be destroyed also. When you read 2 Ezra 16:1, it tells you that. Let's read that real quick and then go back.
Second Ezra, chapter 16, verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloth of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
Right. Your destruction is at hand. So Asia, China is a part of Asia, Japan, they're going to be destroyed too. So, woe meant, a similar word that was there used, bewail for your children. They're going into captivity also. Their nation's going to be destroyed. Their manufacturing, the whole process, the money they're going to be making is going to be brought to nothing. They're going to work for Israel. They manufacture goods for Israel. You want to go?
Verse 3.
No, you go right there. Go on.
It says, verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. It says, thou hast consulted thy shame to thy house, by cutting off many people, and have sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
It's America collapsing. Stone crying out of the wall. So all the stones come out, that's when the building's going to fall.
Yes.
What?
It says, woe unto him that buildeth a town with blood, and stabbeth a city by iniquity. It says, behold, it is not of the Lord of hosts, that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity.
Yeah, laboring, they believe they're going to try to save America. That's all of the Trump people, they think they're going to save America. And Biden too, build back better. They're laboring even though America's circling the drain. This program is designed to fail.
Yep.
So they're laboring even though it's going to fail. Because they actually believe it can be healed. Like we're laboring because we just laboring up to the point of its destruction. They're laboring because they actually think they can repair and improve things. It's not going to improve. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, Esau as a whole, his inward thought is that his house shall continue forever. That's not true. The Lord set up a balance in which this kingdom cannot pass. Like the brother said, it's circling the drain. Now, one example of that is something called de-dollarization. So I want you to read that, Baba Kusha.
Alright, so this is off of Yahoo. It says Saudi Arabia's finance minister Mohammed Al-Jaddan stunned reporters in Davos, which we know that was like a summit out in Switzerland earlier this year, in January, when he expressed that the oil-rich nation was open to trading in currencies beside the U.S. dollar for the first time in 48 years. There are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade agreements, whether it's in the U.S. dollar, euro, or the Saudi rial.
And the reason why that's a problem is because, again, 48 years, you had to invest in the dollar for the oil. And now they're moving towards de-dollarization, which you're going to read in that excerpt. Right, with the talks and discussions of utilizing other currencies in order to trade for that resource. Go ahead.
It says his comments are the latest signal that powerful nations across the world are plotting a de-dollarization of the global economy.
Right, because the global economy, all right, a part of that is America's ability to have its currency as the world reserve currency. All right? So when you have nations that are discussing amongst themselves, how can we trade outside of the dollar, it impacts America. All right? It impacts America. All right?
If you didn't have control over the money, the monetary system.
Yep. Yeah, the dollar gave America a great advantage over the rest of the other nations. So that was really it.
Yeah, that's
I mean, brothers could do more research, but that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So, is there more to what you were reading, brother? Okay. You got who got precepts?
It's Psalm 49 and 11. Well, you're quoting. It says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So basically that's Esau's mindset. He literally think that, his kingdom's gonna continue forever. For example, that's why Esau be making these predictions. Oh, by 2050, by 2040, we're gonna do this and do that. And shoot, you got a lot of Jakes who rather believe in that than to believe that, real soon all hell is about to break loose. The prophecies already speaking. Jake has more faith in Esau continuing than, Yahushua's return.
Yeah, they're trusting Egypt, which is going to be their shame.
Yep.
We're going to destroy this place right along with Esau and 2/3. All right, when you read the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, it's not just talking about Esau. The Lord's going to uproot all the wicked among all nations. All right, even though it is primarily talking about Esau, but applies across the board, because you got a lot of wicked amongst Israel. And just as the brother said, that would rather continue here in America than advocate for the kingdom of the nation of Israel, man. Because they got a mental, they got a, a mental disease, man. Yep. And you explain that to them and they'll deny it. But, behaviorally, they totally are with the system. You got a lot more Jakes that are advocating for America exceptionalism than you do Edomites. Because Esau could actually see certain things. Esau's actually following trends. All right? You got a lot of Edomites that have totally pulled out of this American dream, and you got Jake still trying to prop that bullshit up. Especially certain Jakes that are in the military, man. Hold on. Did we finish Psalms 49:11? Okay, brother, go ahead.
It's Isaiah 31:1. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh." As kind of goes into it, man. Like we know that America or Babylon is nothing more than modern day Egypt, and they kind of like seek after Egypt because there's a lot of tangible things they can see. They see their military might. They see the strength that they have and the foothold that they have in all of the land. So they see that as something to be reverenced by. So they don't really look at Yahweh Shema Shai. They're trusting that. They trust in the things they can see, like they said, the military might. They live comfortably here in America. They don't think they believe in the dollar, that the dollar's never going to collapse. They don't think that World War III could ever happen, because they feel like America's military is so strong that no one would ever even think to fight against America, right?
Which just goes to show you that a lot of Israelites don't know what's really going on.
Exactly. Yep.
They really don't know what's going on.
Yep. But they don't look at the Yahweh Shema. They don't look at they're sought after Yahweh and his son Yahushua. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd be on Newsbreak. I'd be looking at, the news basically on Russia maybe versus against, the U.S. And you got a lot of proud Edomites who are in the comments. Putting a laughing emoji. The Russian army really think that they could take, the U.S. Blah blah blah, making proud statements. And same thing goes with Jake, like the brother was going into. It's for example, it's a lot of delicacies within America. So Jake will rather stay here, keep his nice car, his nice house, and a couple of things he got, instead of hoping in the downfall of this place. So our kingdom comes.
I'm actually gonna keep reading Isaiah 31:2. It says, yet he also is wise, talking about the Most High, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words. Like the scriptures say, his word returned not to him void. It says, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it says the scriptures say how the Lord's word is pure and tried like 7 times in the fire, like silver.
Purified 7 times in the furnace.
Yeah, basically paraphrasing, you know, because again, and the scriptures also say how the Lord is bound by his word. So whatever the Lord said is going to happen, it's going to happen, you know. So it's nothing you can do in order to prevent that. So might as well, you know, if you're an Israelite, you should be hoping that these things come to pass. Because, yeah, you know, we know trials and tribulations await us, you know, but at the end of the day, those things got to pass in order for Yahushua to come back. And anyways, the Lord's going to keep his servants fed and taken care of. So, you know, it's really nothing to be worried about like a heathen would be worried about.
Yep. And it says, verse 3, now the Egyptians are men and not a power, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. Right? You have a lot of Jakes in the military, man. You have a lot of Jakes trying to help, you know, Esau's conquest and help uplift and keep America growing by all different means, not more than just the military, but in other ways too. You know, trying to help and you know, like I said it talks about the Egyptians, but you know, Esau in America is nothing more than a modern day Egypt, all right? And they're right now the ones in full rulership and full power. Okay.
All right, brothers. Last precept. All right, go ahead.
This is in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 7. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already at work. And now, you know, things were happening back then. It was already bad with the secrecy, you know, of the sins that they were doing, and it's much worse, you know, now. You know, people are finding out that, you know, the Federal Reserve Act, you know, I mean, is you know, against them, right? Keeping them in debt and stuff. So it's much worse now than it was back then at this time. It says, only he.
It's not a mystery anymore. That's the thing. It's been
right,
revealed.
been revealed.
It's been revealed who the wicked is. The wicked is the Edomites. Okay? You read about that in Malachi, the 1st chapter. He's known as the border of wickedness. And we've, for at least half the lesson, gone over the atrocities of this man, not only against the Israelites, but worldwide, what he's doing geopolitically, economically, militarily. You know, we touching on the points to give, you know, to plant seeds. And then you got to do the, okay, well, they said about this, they said about this. You got to look into it then. All right, but we giving you the information, and then we giving you the precept, but Jake got to do their own due diligence. Okay? Because it's only the elect is going to get this. Go ahead and make your point. Keep reading.
You know, it says, only he who now let it will let until he be taken out of the way.
Who's letting? The Most High is
Sorry,
letting. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Last verse, it says,
who's going to be the one to take him out of the way? That's it.
That's going to be brought to Esau's remembrance, man. He don't realize that. You know, he don't realize that the Lord is letting you, you know, get away with this.
Seemingly.
Yeah. Yep.
You ain't getting away with shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's all according to the Lord's plan. You know. That's what you peons. That's what the average, you know, everyday person don't understand. Both our people, right, and Esau Edom, man. They don't understand that the Lord is allowing Esau to get away with a lot of this stuff, or at least seem to think he's getting away with things. You know. Like I said, the scripture says, not to get too, you know, off topic, but, you know, it says that because execution against the evil work is not executed speedily, therefore it's fully set in the sons of man. And that's both for Israel and for the heathen nations, all right? They're gotten away with keeping us down for so long. You know, even Ezra said, you know, how long shall this endure that we're, you know, in this, you know, impoverished, you know, state, yeah, you know? How long shall this endure? But it's only a matter of time before, you know, these prophecies really start heating up and you know, that kingdom of heaven, you know, fully gets established.
Verse 8 says, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Most High shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Wicked is being revealed, but it's going to be on a global scale. Everyone's going to realize, like, damn, yeah, Esau, Edom was really the main wicked, man. They're gonna fully believe that.
And the brightness of his coming, dealing with the chariots and stuff. But this is also light too. This is also brightness, prior to his coming, as well. The light is shining here, bringing out this word.
The book of Ezekiel says, then thou shalt know that
the brightness of his coming. The brightness of his coming is the coming with the fire, coming with the missiles. That's that the great noise, all right, in which the elements shall pass with fervent heat. Yeah. Consume them with the spirit of their mouth. That's the prophets. Because remember, we speaking it, the Lord wrote it down for us to speak it. And every time we say it, the Lord is bringing it to pass. Because it's all within the timeline of the Heavenly Father. So, again, the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets. Lord's will, we those men, we the prophets. So we're consuming this kingdom spiritually first, and then the Lord going to manifest it in its proper time, right? In the physical realm. Because everything's already written in the heavens, everything's already established. All right? Everything's already established. So everything is being fulfilled. Everything's being fulfilled.
Yep, even prophesying against these kingdoms, that's a prophecy being fulfilled.
Right. Jeremiah.
Yep, I was going to bring that out real quick if you don't.
Yeah. Who got precepts? Who got precepts? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. All right, so we're going to go right down the line then. You got a precept, brother? Okay. Is it Jeremiah?
Was it Jeremiah
28:8?
Yeah, wow. In a minute. This is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdom. And this is what, the Christian church and, all these, so-called scholars aren't going to go into, that what we're doing here is nothing more than what the old prophets were doing, right? Mm-hmm. Prophesying against great kingdoms. They make it seem like what we're doing is an unheard of thing or an abomination. It's not, man. It's exactly what the Lord intended to do. He's always set prophets out to prophesy the destruction of a kingdom, especially when it's doing nothing but wickedness. All right, that before he brought that kingdom down, he set out his prophets.
A separation of church and state.
Yep.
And right now you have the church and the state merging with each other, something called the 501c3 Charter Act, where the church and the state is assembled together, and they can't bring out these precepts that we're speaking about.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, and a good point of that is like that's what gives these so-called scholars any type of validity, because they went to some sort of seminar or schooling, and they got some accolades and a certificate that they hang up on their wall. Like that means something, but like the brother said, that's all in conjunction with the whore, man. With all conjunction with the vain philosophies and corrupt communications and all that.
So when you go to church, you're gonna get a good dose of Novocaine.
Yep.
You're gonna be numb to the world. You're not gonna understand prophecies. Only thing you're gonna be concerned about is prospering in this wicked kingdom.
That's right. So Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. The prophet which prophesied of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then it shall prophet be known that the Lord had truly sent him. Yep.
So the world's going to know that we were the prophets, because everything that we're saying is coming to pass. Not gonna come to pass, it's coming to pass. Beginning with our apostles and the elders, they've been speaking prophecy. All right? And we the fruit. All right? We the fruit of our apostles and elders. So we've been saying this. All right? And the Lord is bringing everything into fruition. Everything. All right?
All right, it's book of Isaiah, chapter 48, in verse 3. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth.
Yeah, like what's an example of that? All right, Ezra saw the beginning and the end.
Yep.
Right? But he didn't understand everything, because we in that time now, where everything is being understood, made known. Because we in the time of the end, where it's going to be made known, made clear, made plain, and then those events are going in their proper time to take place. Because we only waiting, as the elder apostle Tahar would say, those last few final prophecies, which is the sea hit, which we're in the midst of that, and then World War III, we're in the midst of that. Okay?
It says, and I showed them, I did them suddenly, and they came to pass.
Right. Hey, so none of these shall fail, right? None of the prophecies is going to fail, all right? That's why I say, what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Most High forbid. You know, you got to have a certain element of disbelief, because it's going to make the destruction that much extraordinary. And that's a testament of your faith anyway, right? Everything's got to contrast one another. So the Lord put the perfect balance into play. Only those with the eye salve and the spirit to see is going to see it and believe it and keep it. And if they be of the elect, they're going to be saved. The rest of the Israelites that don't believe, they're going to have to be born again in the kingdom. Right? Hence Romans 11, where all Israel will be saved. They're going to be saved through that governing body. Okay, beginning with the men of the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, this is where the main destruction is going to take place. This is where the main delivery is going to take place. Is out of here. Is out here from Mystery Babylon. Okay. So, go ahead. Moving right down. Hey, Mafpa, you finished all that?
Yep.
Okay, move right back along.
All right. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." So, like the brother brought out before, you know, these people think this place is gonna go on forever, right? But then what's gonna happen out of nowhere? It's gonna be that, you know, sudden destruction. All right, Jacob's trouble. All right, all hell breaking loose. All right, these people ain't gonna know what to do. All right, you even got some people who know that
gonna be
this.
applying for wine in the streets.
Yeah.
And all that when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was about to say, like, even the people who know this place don't got much longer, what do they say? Oh, this is gonna happen, be ready, get ready. But they don't tell you how to get ready, man, because honestly, they don't have the answers, man. Yeah. Only the prophets of Yakalba Page have the answers, man. All right?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be spiritually prepared.
Yep.
And in order for you to be spiritually prepared, you gotta understand prophecy. You gotta understand the scriptures. And most people don't understand the prophecies. You know, because our hope is in Yakalba Page. You know, that's plan A through Z. All right, plan A through Z is putting all of our hope, trust, and confidence in Yakalba Page, because it's going to take Yahushua to deliver us from the amount of evil, tribulation, and judgment that's going to be out here. That ain't not. Look, man, you can go out into the woods right now, and a tick can get on you, right? And then you end up with Lyme disease. And if you don't have means of the proper treatment, you can't even remove that. You just gotta let him do his thing. Because if you pull off the tick and it gets stuck in there, you might get Lyme disease. I'm just using that as a point of reference. That's just a small little creature. Because you got people thinking they're just gonna run off to the woods. The elect is gonna be able to run off into the woods, but an average person, you can't. You can't. The Lord could send, look, the scriptures tell you that teeth of wild beasts was made for what? There you go. So the Lord gonna send all of these extra things, all of these different ways to judge these people. Disease is gonna be rampant. Creatures are gonna tear. Okay, and then whatever survived all that, the missiles is gonna take out. So again, the point is, the only way you're gonna make it is through Yakalba Page. You gotta be of the elect. You gotta be of the elect. And only the Israelites, okay, can be of the elect.
Yep. Let me actually just, because I have a scripture.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. We're getting ready to wrap it up, but finish your thought. You know?
Yeah. This Amos 5:18, it says, "Warn to you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went to the house and leaned his hand against on the wall. and the serpent bit him. So these people are gonna try to, build up certain things. So I build up certain forts. I try to get rich people gonna try to get into bunkers and this, that, and the third, but it's not gonna work because, hey, the Lord is gonna have a way for you to get your judgment. All right?
It's gonna be so bad that we're gonna need miracles. That's the thing. That's the contrast. Is we're gonna actually need miracles. And the Lord gonna show, and the Lord gonna show out, for his elect. That's how we're gonna be sustained. We're gonna ultimately be sustained through miracles, through divine intervention. All right? It ain't gonna be by our own strength or power. It's gonna be through Yahweh by Shemi Shai. All right?
Yeah, going to the brother's point, it's a lot of these prepper YouTube channels, basically after they're done with their, they bring out something, they basically, okay, so make sure you guys stock up and you prep, be ready. Okay, so what about, your subscribers or your viewers who are poor? They can't afford that. What's your advice for them? So at the end of the day, the Lord's advice is to trust in Him. So at the end of the day, you got to be spiritual. You can't be carnal and trust in carnal things, like it says in Isaiah 31.
Yeah, like the brother was saying, you got these dudes, these YouTubers like Mr. Beast, thinking they're doing good deeds by giving out money and food and Lambos, all right, whatever the case may be. All right, but Jacob's trouble come, everybody, they're going to be coming to you to take all of that, man. Take all of them riches from you, man. Because they know that you got it.
Yep.
Basically, you're not a man of the Lord.
Yeah. In Matthew the 6th chapter says, don't take no thought of those things, of what you're going to eat and what you're going to drink.
Yeah. And plus, if Mr. Beast really, sincere guy, he wouldn't even be posting that on YouTube. Scriptures say not to give your alms in the midst of men, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's just doing it for views.
You give a dude 1,000, but then on that video, you made 10,000.
Yeah.
So.
And if Mr. Beast had any sense, there's no amount of food that's going to protect you from the missiles that's coming. So anything you're doing is storing up food for the missiles. Or food for the men of the Lord when they come across your pile.
Yeah. But
the Lord gonna put a different spirit out here anyway.
Yep.
One thing that I think of is that movie Into the Wild, right? And he thought he knew the landscape, so when he wasn't able to hunt the animals, and now whether that's happened, because remember it was supposed to be based on true events, but I'm only using this as a point of reference to illustrate a point. He was out there with his gun, and he was like withering away, and he got to a breaking point, and he was like, "Where are the fucking animals now? Where are all the animals now?" Basically trying to curse out the Most High. But see, the Most High gonna put a different spirit. So anybody who got skills and things of that nature, it's not gonna profit you in that day, because the Lord gonna turn the animals away, right?
Yeah.
They're not gonna be around.
Remember, he died by
And that's awesome. Like I said, he thought he knew the landscape, and he had a reference book for herbs, but he ended up eating some damn poison berries. Now, how many people gonna die just like that too? That's the thing. Yep, just like that. And it's gonna be, that's why we're gonna see bodies everywhere. Okay, carcasses, No, absolutely not. Again, we're going to need miracles. We're going to need the strength of the Lord in order to endure. Because you think you got some... Now listen, I'm not going to say that if a brother got skills, they're not going to come in handy, but ultimately that's not going to save you. All right? How many people can really start a fire, let's say in a torrential downpour? How you going to start a fire when everything's fucking wet? You're going to need a miracle, man, and it's cold outside. Right? The Lord gonna give us warmth to some degree, whether it's a fire or the Lord put an aura around us, something gonna happen where we're gonna be sustained in any case, in any scenario. So let's end on, you finished there? Let's end on what you got, brother.
John, this is Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Yeah, so like it says right here, the Lord already has set up and determined the downfall of Esau's kingdom. We're literally in the downfall of his kingdom. But what? The Lord already has set, the day when the missiles will be launched on this place and it will be destroyed. And Yahweh Shah will come back that same day. So it's There's nothing that Esau can do to extend, you know, his rulership, you know, extend his kingdom. You know, Esau trying to do all this and do all that, thinking that, you know, he can outlast what the Most High already has prepared. Hey, like it says right here, his days are already determined, so he cannot pass it.
Yeah, and the prophets, the men of the Lord, it's been prophesied that we was going to come out here and stand on the highways and the byways and tell the world of your judgment to come.
Yeah, it was in the song in the fifth chapter. And hey, there's coming a time where very soon we're not going to be out here. Okay? We're going to run, right? We're going to go from one place to the next place, desiring to hear a word from the prophets. We're not going to hear nothing. Right? And that time is nearing very, very soon. Yeah. All right,
Amos chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord thy power will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. You know what I'm saying? It says the secret, when you go into the word secret, it means something that is hidden from the general population. You know what I'm saying? From the general knowledge of people. But it says here, it says his secret. So what's the Lord's secret? The Lord's secret would be this knowledge. That knowledge containing, let's see, the laws, prophecy, you know what I'm saying, and having a good moral compass or decision making. So it says, the Lord, surely the Lord, thy power, the Most High, will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets, meaning that it's not going to be revealed to the general population. That his knowledge is only pertaining to the elect, mainly the 144,000, the nation of Israel.
And that's the other piece of the multitude that's going to believe at the mouth of the prophets this truth, keep the faith, and they're going to receive salvation too. All right? Again, salvation is only for the Israelites. The Lord is coming back to destroy. Isaiah 66:15 says that the slain of the Lord shall be many. Okay? So there's a lot of death and destruction coming throughout the world, primarily here in America. But to the elect, you know, the Most High got you covered. The Most High going to redeem the elect of the earth. So with that, you know, we hope we are edified. You know, we encourage you to keep the faith, endure, all right? Continue to pray to the Most High to give you strength, all right? And may the Lord do so if you sincere of heart, all right? We want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakadash. Double honors unto our apostles and those who made millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect, Wa Ababa Bar. Shalom.
Shalom.
Right here.